Hello.
What
Happy
up?
Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth to you.
Yes,
Happy
yes,
Juneteenth to you, and the other one is not here.
yes. Seindole hopefully will be joining us soon. Welcome everyone back to TWG Fan Club, our weekly wrestling.
We
1 second.
I was say we good
We
and cut. Let's do it again. Do it from top. You ain't do it right.
we hear you.
oh, ladies and gentlemen, we are having technical difficulties.
1 second.
All right. So
I
while we
was say,
wait,
Brian, you jump in the driver's seat real quick. I'll hop in the passengers. Oh shit, we driving stick. Oh fuck, let me hold on.
Okay.
the real driver's back. We didn't move the car.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Shit, we about to take that Lambo out real quick. And she's like, and mom
Adapter?
came out like, no. Somebody gonna get hurt real bad.
Wait, I feel like it's a coincidence too that the Wyatt 6 debuted.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm having all of these technical issues again. Like, I feel like it's connected somehow. You know? Like, I was in a Firefly Funhouse at first.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's connected because you still alive and everyone else is kind of, the upper room.
Stop. Like, when I tell you that I was actually scared watching that shit, like, I was like, oh my God. Like, what is happening right now? Like, it's been a while since it felt like that real and terrifying.
Yeah.
That shit look like Game of Thrones, man. It's like burn the bodies.
Oh, man. Hey, Rikarsha. Hey, Matt. Oh, man. But, yeah, so we're back. Our weekly wrestling fan club on Twitch. We got our VIPs already in the building. We're waiting on Seindole and the rest of the crew. So we're going to be celebrating Juneteenth and the release of the BRP 50.
Yeah, buddy.
Black Wrestling's annual ranking of the black wrestlers in the business and that are killing it. I also just want to, of course, shout out Trey from We Love Wrestling, who helped put that list together. Huge advocate for wrestlers and black wrestlers especially, and would do the after 50. So I do want to remember him. This is in honor of him and his hard work that he put into elevating wrestlers and what he did for this list. I also want to shout out, of course, the team over at Black Wrestling. This is their baby. They really do a good job of keeping track of what the black wrestlers are succeeding at over the year. They do a good job of educating us, giving exposure to black wrestlers. Their list is always very well produced and thought out. They did release the criteria. The top 10 hasn't been released yet. So once that is, Krista B and I will be doing our annual recap of that list. But I want to ask you guys, because this is something we all look forward to every Juneteenth. What is...
All right. So I guess she was gonna say, while we wait, what's is there any surprises or what anybody that stuck out to you, Justin, for the BRP 50?
So for me, and I put this on Twitter, so I can say it here too and reiterate. Like, I always look at the list as an educational purposes because for me, who only watches like the main companies, specifically WWE, AEW,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not traversed in the indies like that compared to you guys, where you guys watch these people as they came up, and I'm still learning that process. Like I'm going through that now with watching like Bougie, watching the Rev, Ron Hunt, and stuff like that. So this is where I get educated on like these are the people you need to get put onto because they
Yeah.
be busting their ass and stuff like that. Like AJ Francis, obviously we've seen in WWE, but like the Trisha Doors, and a perfect example is Darius Carter because people
Mm-hmm.
like BRP, you guys have been singing the praises of Darius Carter for a while, and I knew the name, but I hadn't really watched the matches like that until For the Culture in Philly, where I watched the
Okay.
main event, and then it was like I see what everyone's saying. Now I see the hype. Now I see where it validates what you guys have been saying because now I've seen it with my own two eyes.
Yeah.
And it is these type of lists where I wouldn't have known who he was without the BRB 50. And that goes for a
Mm-hmm.
lot of that talent. So I look at it for educational purposes instead of like, well, this person's, number 3 when they should be number 10. It's like, that's not for me to decide. That's for me to like, yo, there's a reason why this person is high or there's a reason why this person's on the list to begin with. Do your homework, do your Googles.
Yeah, I think that's the cool thing. And one, I always say this in this content creation game, right? People get in their lanes, right? And you have a different lane, and like you said, that isn't for you to decide. You feel, which a lot of people obviously all this get critiqued. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
But it's also cool to sit back and say, all right, let me learn something. Um, when I look at the list, I always say, all right, how is this person been doing? Yeah, I keep up with the indies, a lot of stuff more via social media, but without revealing too much that's been said in interviews with on Wrestling for the Culture with Black wrestling in the past. I know that it is an extensive process. It's not something that they just say, okay, boom, we're gonna do this, boom, boom, boom. All right, cool. No, it is an extensive process to make sure that it's done right. And it's something like they're already keeping track of everybody. And I love that they put the criteria out there. And one of the things that I always see, okay, how did this person do versus last year? Somebody like a Shalance Royale who has been, doing her thing for a while, but she's now, it feels like, starting to rack up a lot of wins and a lot of titles. That's somebody who sticks out to me. You know what I mean? As we welcome back in the best driver in the world,
Thank you.
Queen P.R.
Sorry, I got a new laptop, so I'm just getting used to it. But
That's okay. We was
thank
talking
y'all.
about Justin said that the list is something that he looks at as an educational tool, something,
Same.
yeah, that he doesn't feel it's up to him to distinguish where argue placements. And I said the thing is, I always like seeing comparing last year versus this year. I mentioned Shalance Royale, somebody who I've been
Mm,
a fan of for years. Not only can the lady wrestle, but have y'all heard her voice? It's the voice of, it's a golden voice.
it
Like
really
some,
is.
her and Stan Michael. Shalance Royale and Stan Michael. I don't know how we get that happen, but we got to have like some
Single,
sort
a
of
single off or
a
something.
sing off. Oh my goodness, they only had to touch. They just sing in the
Have we
ring, go
even
back.
ever had that in wrestling?
Not in not where people who are actually vocalists.
Okay.
So I think that would be, man.
I'm trying to
That
think,
would.
like a sing off for like a wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ones that could really sing weren't wrestlers. They've been like, no, like a
Right.
Lillian Garcia or like a Samantha, like they're like ring announcers, but they don't wrestle. Like it's
Right.
been more of those types.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, you probably had, I mean, they did have the album.
Yeah, but like but in like a gimmick, like a
Yeah.
match, let's say, or like a segment, it's
Mm-hmm.
usually like a joke,
Yeah.
but they've never had that, and they're both so entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
Like so entertaining. But I want to congratulate everyone that made the list.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, all of the women. You mentioned Shalance. I remember when she had just came on the scene a few years ago, and I was able to discover her. Jordan Blade. I've seen her wrestle so many times.
Yes.
Always knows how to put on a show. Janite Kai, she is also a star in the making. I could see her being much, much higher. She's in the
Mhm.
top 20. That's amazing. Trisha Dora. I mean, I don't think you could say anything bad about Trisha Dora as far as, everything that she's done. Danny B. Oh my God, Danny B. So I know her mom from like the most like randomest shit.
For real?
Like just 6 degrees of separation.
Okay.
And she was like, "Oh my God, my daughter's a wrestler." When you hear that,
Mhm.
like, especially before I got back into wrestling, it's like, "Oh, okay." And it's like, "Oh shit, go ahead, girl, do your
Yeah.
thing." But yeah, I cannot wait to see who made the top 10. I see Jay Cargill's number 14. Does that seem low? How you guys feel about that?
I think it's fair. You think back, the impact that she's had when she first arrived, just the signing, what it meant, and then the moment in the Royal Rumble. I believe she may have had a couple eliminations. But the WrestleMania win, obviously, that's huge. Just the tag team championship win, and then those quick singles wins on SmackDown, they carry a lot of weight. So,
Mm-hmm.
and also, like I said, with the signing, because Jade Cargill had a full throttle press release. She had an interview on the Masked Man show as well, but she had a full, P. We know about media rollouts and the importance of a media rollout, and she had one of those. So that's what I think is fair.
Yeah.
I mean, the
It,
thing you got to remember with these lists, if you're inactive, that matters. Like, this is the thing where, like, I think with some fan bases, they want to see their favorites like at the top or top five or this and that. But you also got, if they're not wrestling, if you're not seeing them, then you can't have them top five when someone else has been actually doing the work and working the entire time on TV the entire time, busting their ass the entire time too. So 14 feels fair, especially where it's like, damn, if Jay got 14, then who's ahead of her?
right. Right. It really makes you think. I don't know if you guys mentioned Jay Bougie while I was in Never Never Land. But I definitely want to give him a shout out and happy birthday to him.
Hmm.
He always has a treat. Every
Hmm.
year on Juneteenth, he gets to look forward to where he places on the BRP 50. We watched him grow so much
I'm
and just
happy
seeing
for him.
him ranked.
44, the number of hammering Hank Aaron, one of the greatest. Most people say the greatest home run king if you don't recognize Barry Bonds. But I was like, okay, Jay Bougie, he went from he was on the, if I'm not mistaken, the first edition of the After the 50. And that was a year, right after coming off, like right at the tail end of the Bodega Street fight. And then he took that momentum and took it in,
Yep.
propelled himself to number 50, and he's keeping that momentum going. And that's the best thing about this, is always watching the growth. One thing, and I'll just leave off this as far as my recognitions as far as the list. Two ladies um who are alumni of the group The Queendom, they was with Amber Rodriguez, and that being Danny B and
Mm,
Promise Braxton, and I
nice.
remember, sitting down talking with them in 2021, and just they were both new to the business. And I started following them, and I started, like, obviously they was teaming up, but then they went on to do their own thing separate. But to watch them continue to grow, to continue to win championships, and um I know Promise has done a lot of work down at our Reality of Wrestling, and I always love watching people at Reality of Wrestling. If you look at what's happening, if you look at what's happening at with Booker T, Roxanne Perez, the prodigy, but she's like a great example of what happens if you go there.
Hey, Letty.
Show the Pythons, brother.
That's so
Look, it's hot.
funny. It is hot.
Yep.
Letty, what's your favorite black wrestling moment so far? Yo, have you guys been seeing what MVP's been posting about the Hurt Business?
I haven't. Talk to me.
Just, like comment if you miss it, or, things to the, again, along those lines.
Mm-hmm.
And when I tell you, me and Letty loved us some Hurt Business.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, what is there not to love? You
Y'all seeing
know,
black men in suits.
every week,
It wasn't
like
just
it just
that. There
got
were
better
no
and
nonsense fucking
better.
people up. I think of like when Retribution pulled up to the Thunderdome and they came out like the fucking Avengers. Like, it's only 4 of us. We don't care how many there is of you all. We're just gonna wash you.
If we being honest, it finally validated Raw Underground when they went down there, because Raw
Mm,
Underground was like, okay, whatever. But they went down
that's
there. It's like, you know what? We
I was
lose.
like,
Let's go
did
down
it?
there and let's go fuck up some shit.
chill.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a Raw Underground
But
I just
enthusiast.
want to
like,
know what happened to the dancers. That's all I want to know. We saw them
Yo,
one time
it
and that was
really
that.
had like video vixens
it did.
on
Yeah.
Raw for
Like,
1 week.
Ooh, that could be a thing. Hashtag wrestling vixens.
Ooh,
mm.
I love it.
And
Jada
the thing,
Bianca is a moment, I will say.
I'll even add to that Naomi at WrestleMania. That
The
moment,
big three,
yeah. Man,
perfect name.
what a time.
Nah, I'll take Naomi at Rumble. Coming out first 2, getting that pop, staying in for like a long time, especially where like we hadn't seen her in a year. And for her to get that, and remember, she's a Florida girl, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, Orlando.
Yeah, so
It was an hour away. I wish you. P had the greatest reaction.
Two.
Um, Naomi coming out. Well, first of all, I'm biased, but I enjoy watching wrestling with Queen PR because I know that it's going to be for those 2, 3, 4 hours. It's going to be okay. Let's sink in and be full fledged kayfabe. But it was like we was all sitting there watching, and we like heard the music, but it didn't hit you until
It
like, wait
really
a minute,
took a second to be
yeah.
like, oh my god,
Mhm.
because you kind of expected, but to be number 2
Yeah.
and then to look at Natty's face, I was
Mhm.
like, oh
And they
yeah,
had that moment in the ring before they, squared up. So that was definitely a moment. And then also, with Black wrestling this year.
yo, BET after dark.
Wow. I'm gonna give you one too. The final boss. We saw just this.
Oh, that was good. Wait, that's your favorite
get
Black
up,
wrestler
boy.
moment?
It's one of them.
Nah, him. No, okay. Oh my god.
Yo, he
I'm so glad Lenny is
violated
watching
Cody.
because when he was calling, who he was calling boy,
Cody.
Cody.
he was like, I can't even do it.
He was beating his ass and calling him a boy, and then looking at the cameraman like, "Nah, we do this shit on my time.
Juneteenth.
Fuck all
Okay,
this."
so I have a question. How do you guys, honestly, and I want to know the people in the comments because it is a joke that has really gone so far.
Okay.
And it's Juneteenth. How do you guys feel? Yo, Letty hilarious. How do you guys feel about the whole like Cody's invited to the picnic? I mean, the cookout. He's basically black. Like, he can celebrate June. I've seen like, I don't know if they jokes, but that he can celebrate Juneteenth. Like, what? How y'all feel about it? Do you think it's going too far? Like,
I could
what's
answer
up?
that real quick because I said the same thing on the buckle. I don't, as a Puerto Rican, I don't think I'm qualified to say who's allowed at black cookouts and who's not. Because I know for Latinos, we got our own cookout, and then we have the Black and Brown Alliance, where it's just us with our
Yo, yeah,
cookouts.
you
So
grew
I
up in the
know.
Bronx. At some
So
point,
I,
there is an alliance.
so I know if Cody pulls up to our cookout, the Latino one, we get him all the side eyes and pulling the girl aside like, nah, where the fuck you ain't meet one of your own? Like, it'll be a lot of questioning and answering. But as far as black cookout, I'm not qualified, so I'm sitting this out.
Brian, you think
Oh
the
my
Cody
goodness.
jokes are going too far? Is he? I mean, is he invited to the cookout? Like, what's up?
I mean, you need someone to talk to the cops.
Oh my god, that is hilarious.
You're a lawyer, go.
Yo, he gonna see that fucking American flag tattoo? Like, oh, y'all good?
Do we this is to sound controversial. Do we have a cookout if we can't distinguish who can and can't come?
What you mean?
So we only say cookout when it's time to invite somebody. We don't never talk about, hey, we're gonna do this at the cookout, or we don't even talk about certain black songs we're gonna play, or like, yeah, that may be a black song, but we're not gonna play that at the cookout. The only time we talk about a cookout is if we decide if we're
It's
gonna
like who's not coming?
yeah, if we're
That's
gonna
all we need to talk about. Like, there's an understanding.
like why can't we, we can't like, I don't know. We ain't talk Talking about what we plan. Do y'all don't hear that? Do y'all? I'm sorry.
Nah.
I'm about to say,
Okay.
what is that Cody out there?
Like a
You
Let
dog
me
barking.
in.
Oh, you were scared of something.
I got potato salad. There's no raisins in it.
All right, perfect. Thank you. You just said it. Okay. We don't talk about the foods, right? Like for instance, one day Sir Wilkins got on his social media and said he eat potatoes at his raisin's house. We don't never say,
Ew.
yo, never bring this to the cookout. We only say who can and can't come. So if we say if the only time we talking about it is if we talk about white people, I guess Cody can come. I don't know. Maybe he need to do a little bit more advocation. Maybe I don't know. Maybe
I mean, he could do like he'll do at our cookout if we ever invite him. You're bringing drinks because we don't trust your fucking cooking. We don't trust your cooking. It's Brandy cooking. Nah.
Do we trust Brandy's cooking?
We'll give it a shot, but you know Latino households, like the moms, the aunties, the titis, everyone wants to cook. Like if you ain't in there with them, don't bring food, bring drinks.
I don't know. I mean, yes.
And as Latinos, you know, the drinks will be flowing long and heavy until like 3 days later.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
I love the sound of that.
What do you think?
You say that.
You
You
put
say
me
that
on the hot seat.
now.
It is
You wanna know
burning.
what I
P,
think?
you say
Yes.
that now, but if I let you come up to like my boys who are Bolivians where they don't know off buttons, you're gonna think twice about, ooh, the drinks will be flowing nonstop. Like, yeah, choose your words carefully. I've seen the other side of this.
Oh, I was more thinking about the food. Like if the food was also, you know, ongoing, then I'm all the way for that because I feel like I could eat like all day. But I don't know, like I feel like it was a cool joke, but then after a while, you know, like I think once WWE started tweeting it, that's when I was like, okay, it's losing. Now it's like it's kind of losing something. Like, and WWE has a habit of doing it, and I get it. They always want to be on the cutting edge of whatever the trends are, but it's like something. It's just I feel like once WWE gets it, it's corny.
Wow, they'll mess around and have a cookout.
1,000%, and fucking Cody would be fucking hosting it. Wait, what the fuck? He gonna cry too. You know he be crying. All right,
let that man be show emotion. I mean, we were as guys, we take a lot of shit for like we show emotion or we don't show emotions, and then when he cries, it's like, look at him, see, crybabies, he probably cancer.
I'm for it because that is so Cody, but I have to.
He gonna get these jokes.
I have to roast it, right? I have to roast him for it because
I get it. He cries a lot.
And his daddy cried too. Son, I want to be your partner, and I just want you to seal it with a kiss. So he cried too, so you know it goes in the family. Dustin didn't cry that much because Goldust, Goldust don't cry, but you know,
Goldust was on some other stuff. I'm just saying, man. You were looking like that voluntarily.
Yo,
you were drinking, you were smoking, you weren't doing stuff like.
You heard that story, right?
Which one?
If Vince McMahon would have paid him $1 million, he was going to get legit implants.
Wait, who?
Goldust.
Like breast implants?
Yes.
Wow. All right, let's bring up the rest of the crew.
Yeah.
On that note, because I feel like I knew that, but hearing it is very
like bring her up. So Seindole, man plants, yes or no?
Excuse me, what conversation did I just fucking walk into? I heard cookout, and then I went cookout, and then I just saw an alert from Black Wrestling, and I heard implants. So like, can we fast forward the rewind? Who was getting paid to get boob implants?
I don't know. The director said move on.
Okay, we're moving on. Okay. Hey, hi, Brad.
Hey, girl. I like your shirt.
Yes. I am respectfully wearing number kicking the doorways in the 44. Number 44, Jay Bougie on his birthday. So shout out to Jay Boozy per usual.
Oh, I love it.
I like that. All they said was bougie, don't hit me no more.
Yep.
I need to add that one to the collection. I like that.
Yeah, me too. He always has top 5 shirt designs. I couldn't find one of my fucking a million bougie shirts today, of course. But I am
had to dig for this. Yes, I see. I had to dig for this shirt.
Family. Stephanie Hardy. Speaking of family, happy
Stephanie
Happy
Hardy.
Juneteenth, my girl. We love you. Yes, I love that Juneteenth fell on a Wednesday. We did briefly chat about the BRP 50 Seindole. We are very excited to find out who the top 10 will be. But what are some of your initial thoughts on the list so far? We mentioned Bougie. Who are some other people you're excited to see on the BRP 50?
I was excited to see that they did give Obafemi his flowers. I did just come off of watching the Jocelyn Navarro interview, and I thought it was a really great interview. Shout out to DDM and the wrestling chick Mimi. It was a really, really great interview. I look forward to those mostly because I like when they sit down with who they actually have on the list and they get their insight on the business and they ask really intuitive questions, like really great interview-ish questions. I know they just sat down with Jay Bougie. I did not get a chance to watch this one because New Jersey's transit sucks and they don't have Wi-Fi on the trains, but I do plan on doing that mostly. Like that's what I enjoy the most is they get into with who they have. I love that Charlize Royale is on there because I've been talking about her on the fan club. She's like, ooh, like she's singing and wrestling. I live for her. I live for her. A lot of great names that hopefully I get to recognize going forward. So I look forward to that. Like I get learned to seeing who I always love and who I get to hopefully watch and love at the same time. Right. So the interviews, the list, the way it's constructed, I enjoy it all.
Same. I also want to point out, because Krista B and I will be doing an official recap on the podcast. What I do appreciate at this point is that it's become something that the entire industry looks forward to. It actually has given people some press, if you catch my drift, because people complained about where they placed, but it kind of got you buzzing, bro, in a lot of ways. So I do want to point that out, that it's gotten to a point where it is very well respected, very well regarded. I mentioned earlier already how our fam over at Black Wrestling really put in a lot of work. I love the rollout of the interviews, love the shirt, everything that they have done so far. I love the cover. Last year they killed it with their I want to say Vibe magazine inspired cover.
This one I think gave me more like something that you would see on the cover of Sports Illustrated, like the drop with Trick Williams and the words across, and how after old school, like when Sports Illustrated first came out.
The cover real quick.
That's a vibe it gave me, like old school, like edition magazines of some of the Sports Illustrated stuff. That's how they used to look. It used to just be like one person and then like what they were going to talk about on the issue. I love that.
Same. Yes.
Sidebar, Della, Priest is Puerto Rican. He'd be like the ambassador. He's a Puerto Rican world champion. He'd be like the ambassador.
Let me remind y'all, come on, like
we be getting him drunk first.
I need to remind y'all that every 4th of July, Vince used to make the wrestlers that were just sitting and catering, chilling, have the cookout. Y'all forgot? Teddy Long used to run cookouts on SmackDown.
So everybody that don't be on TV, go stand in the background.
Like go stand in the background and put a bikini on and pretend you grilling a hot dog. Like so, if Teddy Long was still around as GM, I bet you SmackDown would still have some of that.
Oh,
because them cookouts would be lit.
Priest would definitely be there. Now, we would allow Finn Balor to pull up, and we would also allow Liv Morgan to pull up. We have a lot of questions for Dom about Liv, but Liv's pulling up.
There needs to be a special screen if you're invited to the cookout. Like you are not, like, no walnuts in the potato salad. Only butter, cheese, milk, and macaroni in the mac and cheese. We don't want nothing. Listen, we just saying. Have some flavor in your food to come to this cookout.
Okay. Right. So once you said that, so I was such a huge fan of last year's cover because me and Letty grew up reading hip hop magazines. So immediately when it dropped, we were hyped. So I was like, okay, how we gonna do it this year? So this cover is dope. But when you said what it kind of gives, I was like, okay, I'm here for it.
Yeah, it gives like the cover of like a Man of the Year. Like not how GQ, because I feel like even if you can even give GQ, to be honest, because GQ, remember they do like the sexiest man of the year, and they give you like the person smack in the middle, and then they give you also all the things you're going to talk about in the issue. That's what this gives me. I was almost gonna say double XL, but I don't think double XL has ever done anything like this before.
Nah,
So,
I love where you come from.
so y'all think Trick gonna be number one?
I don't know. It's hard to put him as number one.
My pick was Darius Carter.
I
That's what I was like. That was my vote, my
I
pick.
think it's between him and I'm trying to think. It was between him and somebody else. It was honestly between him, Trick, and one more person because I don't know if Trick can take number one spot. And this is me being I don't know if Trick the queen of the Whoop That Trick fan club. I don't know. It's just so because I thought that they would have given Bianco number one at one point, and then there's been some years where she hasn't always been number one. So it's gonna be hard to see. But my pick is Darius Carter as well.
I have no clue who's gonna be number one, but to go to the cover, like immediately when I see Trick on that cover, it's giving Biggie on the double XL like vibes, or like the
Yeah.
Source cover.
That's why I was gonna say double XL, but I don't remember. Justin, you might remember if there's ever been a cover like that specifically.
Like I pulled up Biggie's and it's close, but like this picture of Trick is darker than like Biggie's picture on double XL, but like it's giving that type of vibe where it's like, yeah, we're taking it back to the 90s with this.
I love that so much. Like I really, really, really do. And I could see him being number one. I just love that there's so many people that we could argue to be number one.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's huge. And that group is just gonna keep growing and growing. I don't know what's her name. Her name is Disco Dropkick on Instagram. I don't know if you guys follow her, but she is like a merch. She's an I would say an influencer because she's so beautiful. She makes wrestling merch and like really customizes, and she just always creates dope content. She's training to be a wrestler.
Oh,
wow.
okay.
And so it's like, wow, like, just seeing that, following her, just admiring, her fashion and her, just being a wrestling fan of her wrestling content. And then that passion led to her training. Like, who knows, 2 years from now, she's like number 50 or something, So it's a lot of people on this list that we've watched grind for years. And to finally, seeing Danny B hold 3 belts. Like that is just so, heartwarming. We talked about Bougie. Everyone on that list has really worked hard to be on it. Seindole, I'm glad you mentioned the interviews because I think that's one of my favorite parts of the rollout. If you are curious about some of the people that are listed, you've never, you're not familiar with, go over to Black Wrestling's YouTube channel, check out those interviews, learn a little bit about them. And then because you become emotionally invested in their journeys, and Black wrestling matters, and Black wrestlers and Black people in general. It's been such a conversation lately, I think, about how much Black culture drives pop culture and creativity. I think it started maybe when like Cowboy Carter came out, and then just the reminder, like Black culture is a part of everything. We move everything, and let's not even get started on Black queer culture. That truly runs the world. That influence runs the world, but y'all not ready for that. Period. Like, most slang, tune in to me and Krista B's Juneteenth Black BRP 50 recap. Maybe Seindole will be on it too with us, if she's free. But we could really get into a lot of these topics. So I'm glad that we were able to kick off fan club, touch on the BRP 50, give Black wrestling, and also just acknowledge Trey. We love you. And we're so ready for that top 10. I really appreciate being able to learn about Black wrestlers, being able to celebrate them and seeing their growth. So shout out to just Black wrestling in general. Yeah. We have a applause soundbite. We should really acknowledge that. Dylan, that is a good question. I, for some reason, cannot place where our truth ranked, or if
he's definitely on there. Just pull up Black Wrestling's handle because they put out 11 through 50.
And again, a reminder because some people have already started with certain people being above certain people. I'm like, if y'all just read the criteria, y'all. Like,
they explain the criteria and they posted the criteria.
Please. Oh yeah, he was 30. But read the criteria, y'all. My God.
R-Truth is funny. Y'all saw that picture he posted?
R-Truth everywhere. You can't get rid of him.
Mm-hmm.
he in your family picture, my family picture, the way Y6 family picture. He's just everywhere.
You said your family.
Oh my
He
God.
24/7.
Can we do an R-Truth appreciation night?
Oh yes.
Oh, we definitely need to do that.
Because like when you think about it, like he just deserves it. And I was gonna ask you guys now, like what was the funniest angle he's ever been in, because I think the Judgment Day shit was hilarious, but there's so many things that he's done, but I'm like, that's probably a separate episode. Like
Oh, mine's is easy. He's the reason that 24/7 championship was anything meaningful. Because anytime Truth got it, he fucking sold that shit to the moon. Not only with how many times he lost it, bro, he pulled up to fucking, what was it, Drake Maverick's wedding?
Oh yeah,
and took that shit off of him.
He was on their honeymoon and he was trying to take that shit from him. He forgot. And he went to the honeymoon.
Yeah.
And he made Carmelo like an accessory to the bullshit too, where it's like, you need to help me retain this.
Yeah, when we do that episode, I can't wait because there's a lot of funny stuff. I can't.
There's so much with Truth, but that was an immediate like, nah, you made that 24/7 title mean something.
Yeah. And he really did. He was 30, so thank you, Vaughn, for that. I'm glad R-Truth is on that list.
And Dylan, like, he got his flowers at Mania because, like, that was the reason why him and Miz won those tag team titles.
Oh, 1000%.
You saw the momentum he was gaining with all the shit he was doing with Judgment Day and making Priest laugh and stuff like that. And remember, he's never had a Mania moment to begin with. So that was like...
He was 0-8, 0-7.
Yeah, so it culminated with, all right, he's kind of the reason why this Judgment Day stuff, non-Rhea, is got a lot of juice. And especially where they turned on him, they were beating his ass. It's like he needed his comeuppance on top of, yeah, he's never had a Mania moment. So it made perfect sense for him to be the one to get those tag team titles. And we kind of give him that.
Shout out to, I'm sorry, I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at freaking Black Backstage Brawl. Shout out to our brothers over there in the chat. Because I remember that. And I was just like, oh my God.
R-Truth?
Why? Yes.
When? What era was this?
This had to be peak. This had to be peak.
Ruthless Aggression.
No, this had to be peak, like, end of PG era.
So like Jimmy?
2010?
Yeah.
It was, hold on, I got it.
God, wait, you got it?
Mm-hmm.
It had to be like post. It was way before the pandemic, but like close to when they were like, all right.
It was when they was still, it was like 2011, like 20 when they were still putting the bug WWE.
Oh, he said 2011.
Yeah, so
okay. It sounded like
PG era.
Okay.
Yes,
Ooh.
there we go.
Oh God!
I just remembered that happened, and then that's the first of all. Pull up the picture. That's the cleanest you ever gonna see Stone Cold.
He got the sword of Gryffindor.
Yeah, he looked like a daggone PCA in that photo. That was the cleanest.
Dude,
and it don't beers.
Yes,
and it don't look like he's mocking it. Like he looks like this is how I get
like,
dressed up. Like
he's
I
like,
got my black button up.
Yeah.
You know?
Like he's going to talk to the teacher about his
Stone Cold funeral attire. Like
yes.
he goes to like funeral. He not dressing up in the suit. He gonna wear that.
Let's take this picture off on Juneteenth. I can't with R-Truth.
We'll remove that from
it wasn't his choice. He did it too for a check. You know, he's gonna be employee of the month, and that was on period. But he don't gotta do that no more.
Now he's just being himself.
Now he's just going to eat. Now he's just going to eat powdered donuts on your couch, and it's gonna be all right.
Yo, oh my God! Can I just mention one thing real quick about Black wrestling before we move on? I appreciate that there are more Black characters that are themselves, but they're all different. Because they always would try to make like the Black superstars all the same, to a certain extent. But like Bianca's different from Jade, Jade is different from Naomi, and Naomi's different from Jade. You know what I mean? Like they all have their own lane, and they're not carbon copies of each other. And I'm glad the comparisons has stopped because people automatically wanted to pin Bianca and Jade, you know, as the new Jade or this or that. And I think them becoming a tag team really, you know, as crazy as it sounds because they were together, but I think it also helped them solidify their individuality because you can clearly see like how they're different, how they work together. And I also enjoy seeing just like on a more like, you know, I guess smart end is Bianca being the veteran.
Yeah.
Like now it's like you gotta trust her instincts. Like now she's gonna lead the match. Like she's gonna, be in the ring for the majority of the time and give Jade the hot tag and kind of steer things. So I think that's like so exciting for me too, because I just know how important that is for the business of just like, you know what, Jade was that sparkly new rookie that was like, she had the it factor. You maybe pushed her, maybe not, but like, you know what I mean? Like she came on the scene, made an impact, and she had to learn on the go. And I think she would agree with that. To now see it where it's like they trust her with their shiny new toy, which was Jade, which you alluded to earlier, Brian, of just like her whole package. They trusted Bianca to lead her there, So that is really exciting to see. And, Bianca being so unapologetically herself, and being able to be an inspiration to, other women coming in is so important. I don't think Alicia Fox is on the list. I don't think
she's not an active wrestler
enough times in the past year. I know she did a couple appearances here or there, but I don't think she is on the list.
Alicia Fox. Sorry,
that was funny. This was funny.
Yeah.
When R-Truth brought a ladder to the Royal Rumble, that was really funny. Yeah, this was a great moment, Vaughn. I'm glad you brought that up because that was such a pure moment. That was such a moment of sisterhood. That's that tough love. Bianca's a competitor. Now that we're in the Olympic season, I can't help but, when I watch Sha'Carri, I'm like, yo, like Jade was very passionate about track and field. Her dream was to be in the Olympics one day. So I think about Bianca a lot for some reason when the Olympics come around. But now, she knows like you go in, you don't win them all, shit happens. She was able to lift Jade up in that such authentic way that someone was able to capture. And I really appreciate those moments.
Yeah, I agree.
Talk about it. Talk about it.
So you have to have been at least in test scripts. And there'll be more of us. Oh, there'll be more, honey. There'll be more. Because the same people can't go to every scrim and the room is big enough for everybody. So
and you see the scrums are getting bigger and bigger, and the press stuff is getting bigger and bigger.
And you see who they're asking for, because it takes a lot for CM Punk to go, where the ladies at? It's loud testosterone in the room. And Triple H to even say, like, is there nothing but males in here? Where are the ladies? Like,
oh my God.
Like, come on.
I don't blame Punk for that, because, like, bro, you get one question, you're going to ask a dumb, like, I don't really give people shit with the scrum questions and stuff like that. That was a dumb question. It's like, he's coming off a serious injury. He's not like a spring chicken. He's like in his 40s, and your first match back, you want to go straight to like the most extreme shit in a Hell in a Cell match? Like, really? That was on your heart? Your one question with CM Punk?
You book it.
I know you're coming back, but can I watch you like die again?
Yeah, right. Can you mess up another springboard, like another like springboard? Yeah,
yeah. Like, can you tell the other tricep in this match? It's like, nah, let me call you out on this. Stop fantasy booking, because that wasn't it.
I'm gonna need
I
them
think
to get
that's
more
when you
people
see
who
the difference between fucking journalists and people who have a platform on social media. Like get invited to a scrum, they want to go viral.
No more dumbass questions about Taylor Swift. Especially to somebody like
remember that
Io Sky.
Oh God, I remember that. Nah, that was so funny.
Thank you.
That was hilarious, because Charlotte and Becky was on his ass.
But think about it. Now his face is in the door. Guarantee you he's gonna be in that room again.
Yep.
Guarantee.
Yeah, cool, instead of anything, they'll never forget you. They'll never forget you. They're literally gonna spot him in a room and be like, "Oh my God, Will, like you're the one that called us old at the press conference." Oh man, yeah. Shout out to Black Wrestling Media also on Juneteenth today. I'm so glad you brought that out, Backstage Brawl, because like we've been doing it, but there's so many more platforms right now doing it at such a high level. And I am so impressed by that. And just, the BRP 50 alone just shows you the strength of Black Wrestling Media. They felt like it was their responsibility to do this, and they're doing it at the highest level that they can do it. So I really do appreciate that.
And the cool shit is when you look at all these black wrestling platforms, you guys do a very good job of not only just holding it down and putting yourselves on, but always building each other up and putting others on, and even like elevating like even current content creators, where it's like we'll do this together and rise together. Whereas like you see those wrestling girls, doing stuff with black wrestling doing stuff with wrestlings, and like so on and so on and so forth. Whereas like you guys do a very excellent job building each other up publicly and on your own platforms and whatnot.
Collaborations.
Boom, there it is.
We're only stronger together. I've learned that. And I'm a Capricorn by nature. I'm very competitive. I'm very ambitious. I'm always just like, if you don't put the work in, then I feel like you don't deserve shit. That's just my attitude. How I, millennial Capricorn. But at the same time, it's nice to see like we all putting that work in. Like, we all are doing what we got to do. Like you brought up the brawl, Justin. Like, Seindole doing watch what happens in NXT. Everything that Brian H. Waters does. Google him. It's not easy. You know what I mean? Like it really isn't easy doing what we do and being in a space that is very like even if you look at the most popular, I think it was Chris Van Vliet who posted. I think he was number 2 in wrestling podcast. And I just want to see just like, I hate to say it, but just how white that top 5 is of the top wrestling podcasts out there. Like
1,000,000 fucking percent.
1,000%.
The number 1 is the Undertakers, who like I don't care. I love, and don't get me wrong, I love Chris Van Vliet's work. I think he is one of the best wrestling interviewers out there right now. Jim Cornette is number 3. Busted Open is number 4. Something to Wrestle With, huge fan. Number 5, but that's
I like Something to Wrestle With too.
That's white as fuck. Like if you are just a pure wrestling fan, that's just like, oh, let me see. I like podcasts now. Let me search the top. It's all white, and I'm pretty sure if we get that others 5, it's probably going to be pretty fucking white as well. So it's very important that we uplift each other. It's very important that we collaborate. It's very important that we lift each other up and not make it a divisive thing, because at the end of the day, it might feel like there's tons of platforms on your Twitter feed, but Twitter ain't real life. Okay, the media industry is still white as fuck, and we have a lot of work to do. So let's keep uplifting each other. Let's keep collaborating. I love that Seindole and Justin are double booked on Tuesdays, because it's just like, important. Right, because the Buckle is doing dope shit on that end. Seindole carved out her niche for NXT, and guess what? It all comes together under this umbrella, and we all are creating our own table.
And it's important too that we motivate the next, because if you notice, that list is all of them are experienced people that have been in the game too long. But guess what's going to happen? They're not going to be in the game for that long unless they want to. And I feel like it's also important that like I was lucky enough to have people who are like, listen, you should do something for yourself too. And then bam, I'm like, listen, I don't know nothing about AEW. Raw's kind of boring to me, but what do I love to watch every Tuesday? NXT. When I got on the show and I did NXT, it's just it makes a difference when you, instead of telling somebody like, oh, it's too hard to do wrestling media, or it's boring, or podcasting has dried up, there's no money in it, and but it's better when you look at somebody and you say, hey, if you enjoy us doing it, why don't you do it? But learn the game, like learn what to talk about, be passionate about what you're talking about. Because if you're not passionate about doing this, if I didn't watch NXT, my show would be a dud. But because I love to dance Trick Williams and I get excited about seeing Joe Henry show up out of freaking nowhere, which I can't wait to talk about that with y'all this Tuesday. But because I get excited about things like that, like the fact that Frank Kazarian has never been in a WWE ring, but he was on NXT, but nobody really cared. But the old folks like me care. You know what I mean?
It was a moment.
It was, So it matters when you're passionate. Like Brian is booked and busy every single goddamn day because he's passionate about it. Like, don't get me wrong. If Brian didn't care about wrestling media, you probably would never see him. But he's somebody who's been in the game longer than all 3 of us in here because he loves this shit. So that's the biggest thing that I have, and we love it. We always say wrestling is for the niggas, but guess what? It really is for us. I'm sorry. Like, you could thank AJ Francis for Joe Henry being number 1. Let's get into it.
I mean,
shout out to Lovely on that one.
You could thank AJ Francis for anything dope that ever happened to wrestling.
Yep. Shout out to Lovely for bringing that up because I was like, wait, now that I think about it, wait a minute. That beef is interesting.
It is very interesting. I do want to remind everyone that it is 8:00 p.m. Eastern on the dot. We do watch AEW Dynamite as a family, even if it was horribly booked and Justin is still here and not at the show. But we do watch
don't say that because I really thought about going tonight.
I'm glad we have you here.
And then adulting and responsibilities came in the back door. Rain in the Ring was like, sit your ass down. Do you not see what you got? Do you not see what you got going on the next 2 days? You are booked and busy. Sit your ass at home.
No, I feel you. I feel you.
So let's get everyone pulling up their Dynamite on their other device, because we did come together tonight. I'm glad we were able to celebrate Black wrestling. We will definitely be doing more before the week is up. But we came together to talk about our favorite international PLE moments, because recently WWE has really been doing a lot with their international shows. A lot of their pay-per-views have been international, which I think would not be, I think it's helped all of the in-between pay-per-views feel relevant, because I think it's fair to say, like, some of those pay-per-views kind of feel like fillers. You don't really remember them. There's no like standout match, like the fast lanes of the world. And, even like, but ever since they've gone international, because these countries, I talk about it all the time, they don't have regular shows. So when WWE comes to their town, it feels like WrestleMania. And when you watch those shows on TV, it feels like WrestleMania. Like, it truly does. I want to also just shout out all of, we talked about it last week, all of the experimenting that WWE's been doing with production, this decibel meter for how loud the crowds are. Like, that is so cool, because in France, they even got a fucking noise complaint a couple nights because that crowd was so ruckus. We'll definitely get into that Backlash in Puerto Rico, but I also want to go back as well to the the 92 what I'm thinking about, Brian H. Waters. Yes. Like, I want to go back to those moments where it's kind of gave the same vibe, where WWE definitely booked those shows to be huge for that crowd, for those fans. And it's been really fun to watch as an American wrestling fan, because I'm from New York. They come all the time. Crowds could be dead. Crowds could kind of just be there just to be there. The family comes out, just because it's in New York. They might not even watch the current product, and they're just sitting there because you're not going to miss out. But when you go overseas, it's like, okay, yes, this is everything. Like, I'm going to bring my entire family. WWE's going to take over the entire town. It's going to be dope. I love watching that. So I want to get into some of our favorite international PLE shows, some of our favorite moments. So I want everyone that is in the club right now, in VIP, Backstage Brawl, Vaughn, Dylan, Rakarsha, Matt, what are some of your favorite international crowds? What were some of your favorite shows, moments throughout the years? I want to get into all of it. So let's queue up Dynamite on another device. We'll take a break and we'll get into it.
Besides the Zelina Vega photo, what has been your favorite photo that you have captured?
My favorite photo that I've captured besides the Zelina Vega, Liv Morgan. I capture her. Like, I have people I've always aimed to get a good photo for. Like, you can tell who are my favorite people. Like, I love shooting. Liv Morgan always brings it. She's such a big energy when she comes out. Bianca's a star. Like, my favorite photo this year has been my big three photo with Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. I wasn't close to the ring, but I asked someone. I was like, please, can I just get a photo of these three women? And I love that photo because I'm Puerto Rican and Black, and to be there for those three, I was there for Bianca and Sasha, and now Bianca, Jade, and Naomi. It's just reputation matters. Like, I tell people all the time, like, it matters. There can be a little young girl in the audience who sees someone just like us and be like, that's what I want to do.
I love that interview. I love Danielle's work. She is amazing. So she talked about that Zelina Vega shot that everybody talks about. Let's get Backlash in Puerto Rico out the way because I feel like that's the top one, at least on my mind. Because I tell you, Brian can attest. I probably cried that entire pay-per-view, like from fucking SmackDown to Zelina's face in that top left fucking photo. I was like, this is so amazing. And that shot of fucking Bad Bunny coming out. Ah!
That's one of those moments that.
Oh my fucking God.
I thought Backlash 2000, when The Rock won, was like one of the greatest backlashes. But for everything that meant to Puerto Rico and knowing what that meant for my brother Justin, like I'm like, okay, this sits on the Mount Rushmore with that Backlash. You know, like it made you look at Backlash from a whole different standpoint, especially when you see like Priest and Bad Bunny, you know, face to face. And like for all intents and purposes, it was the main event. You know, it didn't close the show for reasons that Bad Bunny, from reportedly Bad Bunny didn't want to, so it's understandable. But like that was the main event. You know, Zelina Vega, just the proof that you don't always have to win the title to be over, to have your moment, and she deserved every bit of that.
Agreed.
You already know what I'm gonna say. Like this is like I was already like getting into this content creation game. That made me want to start the YouTube and really go full force because it's like the feelings of watching a show like that in your home fucking country, motherland for me and whatnot, and just seeing Zelina's face, seeing Priest's face, seeing even the crowd, because people forget that like Puerto Rico's gone through a lot of shit in like the last 8 years or whatnot. So it's also like they really needed something like this, and they hadn't gotten a show to this magnitude in like over decades. Like I know I be complaining on Twitter about WWE, please come to DC for another premium live event. It's been like 8 years. They waited over 20 years for this shit.
Just
about.
I want to ask you something, if you don't mind. Ask you a little something, little personal.
Go ahead.
Did you talk to like any of your family members about this moment, this pay-per-view, PLE, that may not be in the wrestling, to like show them the love that the country was getting?
So for some of the family members, I didn't have to, because like I could see through cousins and whatnot that we follow each other on social media, like posting about this, and they don't even rock. I didn't even know they rock with wrestling like that, and this shit was just like, yo, like everyone was talking about this because this was such a huge moment for us, And you think of like the wrestlers, where it's like if the chance to wrestle in front of like my home country, in front of like my home island, stuff like that. And in Zelina's case, this was like her biggest opportunity in WWE to this point. Like she had been a women's tag team champion before, but now you're facing Rhea Ripley in her apex for the title in your fucking home country. So like the emotions that she was going through and whatnot, like I really don't get a lot of FOMO of like things that I miss out on and be like, damn, I wish I could win. This is one of those that's like hands down up there of like, I wish I was in the building for this. Especially hearing from Issa, where Issa was there for both nights and could say firsthand, like, yo, I've never experienced anything like this. And she's been to like a shitload of shows. But this hit different.
Because I know how much you would appreciate it.
Oh, I would have been crying. I would have been losing my shit. I would have been emotional because it's like, it's one thing to like go experience a WrestleMania or like those type of shows. It's another experience, something like this with like your people in your city, in your country, in your area. So it's like me being Scottish and experiencing Clash at the Castle.
Exactly.
Or like if I'm German, I'm about to get Bash at Berlin. Or if I'm French and I get Backlash France. Like it hits, but then the car is almost littered with a lot of my people.
Right.
Like you see
And
Zelina, you see
shit.
Priest, you see Bad Bunny, Savio Vega came out, Carlito
Savio
came out,
Vega?
LWO, and it's just like
exactly those moments that you could only make happen like in those towns. And I can't imagine not getting a WWE show for 20 years, right? And WWE announcing that they're coming to your town a year prior. So imagine just turning around to everybody be like, oh, like, you know, like your family, like, oh my God, we could finally go to a WWE show. You could literally plan to bring your entire family to this show. And the reason why I compare it so much to WrestleMania is because you get a SmackDown, you get a Raw, maybe not a Raw, but you get a PLE, like you get multiple things. They take over your city just as much as they do for a WrestleMania. So you get the whole WWE experience, like for the first time in 20 fucking years. Like, I imagine our adrenaline for WrestleMania. I imagine their adrenaline, like not having had any of this happen. The new wave of what WWE is doing, everything that they're doing with Fanatics, and you know the live podcasts and the WWE fan experiences and all that shit. Like that has to be the most amazing thing ever. And like watching those crowds, like it's something really special about that.
Yeah, like you talk adrenaline, and in Puerto Rico's case, that adrenaline went to 1,000 because then you're taking not only this event and you're making an entire weekend, you're adding Bad Bunny when Bad Bunny is arguably one of the biggest pop like artists in the fucking world. This would be like if you did a show outside the country and you're getting Beyonce to pull up. Whereas like
that really is
not only are we getting wrestling, we're also getting Beyonce on top of that. And Beyonce's gonna actually wrestle.
How it feels, and I've been to a Bad Bunny concert. Thank you to my friend Justin.
You're welcome.
And those vibes, I would never compare anyone to Beyonce. But those vibes are like when I would say even more than electric. Like it's like something in the air. So imagine that mixed with a wrestling show. Like I probably would have just short circuited and just like passed out or something. Because when I tell you I watched that, Brian, did I not watch 85% of that fucking pay-per-view crying? Like,
yes.
So
he's like, y'all, she did.
Look at Selina's face. Look at her face.
I was like,
so happy.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was a moment. I'll leave it at that.
God, it was just so fucking beautiful.
It
like,
was.
I'm like, oh, these are the moments. You know, Zelina's been a heel for 90% of her career. It took one Rico for her to turn face. For the first time I heard
it hit different. Yeah.
I don't think she's ever gotten her flowers like she did that night.
And I think that was a combination of also the fact, like, think of where she's come from. This is a girl a woman who's been a wrestler for a long time. But at one point she was a Shawnese Royale or a Janae Kai, and she scrambled through the indies, and now you're on this huge platform. You're in the WWE, baby. You've made it to the big time. Because let's be real, the WWE is the big time. So to hear, and we're gonna get into when we get into international PLEs, I want to talk about why I like this Clash of Castle more than I like last year's Clash of Castle. We're gonna get into that, but the reason why I was gonna get into it is because, like, imagine you're on a PLE, you automatically hear it's in your hometown, and your first thought is, wow, imagine if I could be the person to walk out in front of the place of my heritage, my culture, and walk out there and do my country proud. And then you hear, well, great, we're gonna give you a title shot in Puerto Rico. The home of your mother and father, the home that you know, the what you've been representing, what you've been, like you got a custom made entrance, like outfit, like you have a Bianca Belair moment, because we're used to Bianca Belair being the one to have these special capes and robes and stuff that she's custom made, but now you get to do that for your people, and the noise did not stop for you. That's a home run for me. That's a home run. That would be a home run for me. Like, shit, imagine me going back to Liberia and I got millions of dollars and I could just walk around the street and give the kids money. It's that equivalent. Like, it's that equivalent.
No, when?
Yeah, it's the win. Like,
when you get to do that.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Brian.
When you get to do that.
Yes,
thank you, Brian. So imagine that. Like, I always think about that. Like when I go home, and it don't even have to be where I was born. When I get on my soil and I show people who I am, and they're like, wow, look at so-and-so's daughter, and she's in this, and she's so well spoken, and you know she has a world famous podcast about sports. Like just thinking of how people are going to talk about me even makes me emotional. So imagine.
I acknowledge
I get to walk in like this,
and then hit him a little bit of.
Justin's like, I get it without the noise effect. There you go. So I can feel her in that moment. Like I see, and I see too why Bad Bunny probably didn't do it, because he's like, listen, this is just like he had a full blown concert in Puerto Rico. After how many people have concerts in Puerto Rico? Justin, you could probably attest to this. It hasn't been like a lot of opportunities to even have a concert in Puerto Rico. Like I'll give you one more example before I cut it short. In the fact that I was so upset I could not go to Ghana for Christmas. The fact that you can now go to Ghana for Christmas and go to a full-on week-long festival into Christmas, into the new year. They didn't have that opportunity. The country was so in so much diaspora that they didn't even have a chance to have the Afrobeat artists they were bringing up to come to those countries. But those Afrobeat artists and these producers said, no, this is where the origin is. We're going to make this place fun. And they did that. So that can only equivalate as to why that's the right decision to make with these PLEs, to have matches like Selena's and other matches that happen after. I can't wait to talk about other PLEs, but yeah, that's when I saw her cry, I was like, homegirls realizing like she won. Like this is the finish line at the end of her race. Even if she didn't win that match, it would be the finish line.
Right.
She won without winning. And I know people be like, well, she came out with the flag. Quick thing, there's a lot of history with Puerto Ricans and that flag, what it means to us. And if you really do your Googles and learn about where once upon a time owning a flag was illegal, so we couldn't even we could be proud of our heritage, which is why we go ape shit with our flags.
Yep. I be knowing, brother.
I love that so much.
I'm learning, man. I love this shit.
To answer Backstage Brawl's question, my vision is that one day there will be a willing WWE put something on, at least in South Africa, but the power and the heat and the infrastructure in Africa is not ready for something like that. Because for them, like I said, to get Dirty December to even be a festival, it's a lot. So, but I know I give it 5-3. They're about to go back to Japan. So I give it that opportunity soon, if not early, it's gonna happen.
That's why you come to the fan club, yo. You get these lessons, man, because you know we don't come up here saying we know everything and everything.
Yeah.
But I tell you, you put us all four together, we know some shit.
Oh yeah, trust me. I've been saying, I'm like, look, y'all going to Japan? Y'all gonna sweep by? Listen, they had tryouts in Nigeria. So let's get into it. It's not to say it's not far from why.
Oh, bring some more chocolate to the E. I'm here for it.
Give me some more Obafemi.
What they said.
Hey, we good. You see them ladies? We good too, Justin. We good too.
No. We'll be feasting.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Shall we get into SummerSlam 92?
We have to.
That is my favorite match. I've watched this match probably at least 2 or 3 times per year. Definitely around SummerSlam. Yeah.
Is it one of the matches you've watched the most?
I would probably, if I had to really do a deep dive, probably so. Just because it's the oldest. It's one of the, like, when I started like getting tapes or found access to it, you know, I made sure like I probably had it on the VHS. Like, no, the DVDs, like the Bret Hart DVD is on there. Then it's on a couple other DVDs. So yeah, it's probably up there for real. But just like when you think about the vibe of you know, at this time, Macho Man's the world champion. And you're talking, you know, at that time, easily top 5 WWF champions at that time. And he wasn't in the main event. Ultimate Warrior, somebody who was a mega draw. Neither one of them, they had the confidence to say, British Bulldog is the hometown guy. We're putting you in the main event to close the show. And that right there, like, you know, and I don't want to go into deep. We all know the story about British Bulldog and why this is one of the reasons why Bret Hart is one of the greatest of all time. But just like that atmosphere, you know, him walking out there, a young Lennox Lewis who would become like one of the most, you know, greatest boxers of all time. You know, it's before Lewis had the full dreads. You know, you had just that, and then the whole story with Bret and Davey and Diana in the middle, but they were both baby faces. So it was easy to believe, like, oh, Bret is on a roll. He could still win this thing. you know. But I mean, it was such a beautiful match, and the best thing is he won it with the sunset flip.
Nice.
Interesting.
And the cool shit about SummerSlam '92, like I agree with Brian. This is one of like my 5 favorite Bret Hart matches. But the whole like the entirety of this pay per view, because I think this is the first time they went outside the states for like a big 4 for WWE, right?
Yeah, that was the first
So I
time.
feel like this set the template. Like people like now you see like Puerto Rico set the standard, or this set the standard. Like no, SummerSlam '92 kind of set the standard because that's Wembley, that's UK. You're getting an actual like football type atmosphere. Like they're watching fucking England in the World Cup from start to finish. And then you look at that card. That card is loaded. You look at all the Hall of Famers on that card, and then to have Brett and Davey close that out with the IC match, which I to this point I don't think they've ever had the IC title
The
main event.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the first one, but I do want to make note of that, because as you can imagine, Bret Hart is very proud of that. But yeah, that there's so many Hall of Famers on this card. I have a bit of trivia.
Ooh, you like trivia?
Yeah, because I had one person who wasn't on there. But
Who?
the Immortal himself.
Oh, this doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah, that just goes to show you the health of that main event and the draw.
Yeah.
Like we talk about, you brought it up earlier, P, about these international pay-per-views. You find out WWE is coming to your town, you're going to flock. So as much as Hogan was the biggest wrestler and one of the biggest athletes in the world, most recognizable athletes, they still sold a stadium, Wembley Stadium, out without him even on the card or even making mention.
And they halfway sold now again. That's the crazy part.
Oh, I wish WWE could get Wembley. No offense, AEW. Like it's nice y'all.
Oh God, but they would sell it out in a heartbeat.
No, they would pack out Wembley.
You want to bet that SummerSlam's that I think they're saving, and before Pat gets into her trivia, I think they're saving the big news that they are going to bring WWE, but I don't think it's Wembley. I actually think they would pull the O2, because if AEW does All In for a third time and then they go right behind them and do Wembley, I don't know.
Yeah, but then
that sounds like summer vacation in the tunes, darling.
But didn't they do O2 for Money in the Bank when they went to London?
Yeah, and look how great that turned out to be.
Yeah, I'm saying like WWE will pack out Wembley quick.
In a heartbeat.
They will pack out Wembley quick.
They could fucking pack out Wembley for a SmackDown.
But their thing is,
I think so. I didn't know that was out there. I just wanted to get
I don't know about that one.
Is not to book the same stadium.
You're not wrong. But can I mention something real quick?
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Liv Morgan. She's wearing a dirty Dom shirt. It just says thinking of you.
Daddy.
Listen, Dom, just fold. We understand. Rhea about to be a face anyway. She's gonna dump you. Just fold.
How can yeah. Because how much longer can he resist?
I mean, Liv's like, I've heard about those Latino cookouts. I want in.
Like, listen,
oh, Poppy.
She want to make some biracial baby. It's fine. She said, "I want everything mommy wants, and I want to be mommy."
Honestly, he should just fold, because Ray is gonna beat that ass when she get back, regardless. So you might as well make it worth it.
That should be the reason why he folds. It's like, bro, remember when Rhea was like destroying your body on a weekly basis for her entertainment before you joined Judgment Day, whereas Liv is just nicely throwing it at you without putting you in a chokehold or like sending you to the fucking ER. Like, come on, man.
She's giving him the baby reindeer treatment. And
my bad. It just caught me off guard. I know I can't wait to get in this trivia because last week.
I was
saying I think they're saving it to do it in the UK. I'm waiting for it.
I think SummerSlam in the UK makes the most sense.
I think that's what they're saving it for. Because we're gonna come back to New York, ciao bye. They tired of us. They said we'll see you during Survivor Series somehow.
Give some, as crazy as it sounds, give some of these other random cities some love.
Yeah, please. Don't come and fuck up our infrastructure. New Jersey Transit already shit as it is.
I also love traveling for wrestling shows. Like, it has been the reason why I have traveled to so many different states. Yeah. So I'm like, I want to go to Cleveland. I want to go to fucking San Antonio. I want to go to all.
Would you go to Minnesota now that you know it's happening in 2026?
I would have went to Minnesota this year if I, God willing. I would have went.
I mean, after seeing the prices for Vegas right now, I really wish it was Minnesota.
I try to tell y'all talking about something. It's too cold. We want to do WrestleMania and it's snow.
We there. We gonna rack up. We gonna rack up these cities.
We gonna celebrate Sienna B's birthday bash at Club Live somewhere. Okay, we're gonna be sexy red at Club Live. All right,
get it sexy. Get it sexy.
I will say this, P, because of you, if the funds are there, I would reconsider SummerSlam in Cleveland.
Really? Because I don't know if I'm gonna be like working it, but I want.
We always find a way to make it fun.
It's
remember, you were working it last. We were working it last. SummerSlam, we had fun.
Remember Detroit was mad fun.
Yeah, I would have went to Detroit.
We found our way. We'll find a way because right now, Money in the Bank is looking.
I do want to make it to Canada at one point. I do.
Yeah, we gotta go there. We're going places. It's wrestling.
Jealous.
That's what I love about it. It's taking us everywhere.
Just imagine where SummerSlam Survivor Series may possibly be.
Where is Survivor? Yes, I would love to know that.
Hopefully,
I have been saying this for fucking 8 years.
I want an WWE
Triple H. I have been saying this and adding you guys because DC. It's not just that we haven't gotten a PLE in 8 years, but if we were to get one, especially a Big Four, Survivor Series makes the most sense because you guys still run arenas for that. You guys aren't doing the stadium shows. DC has a huge ass arena. It's very accessible for the downtown, and again, we're going on over 8 years since we've gotten anything resembling a pay-per-view. Like we're due.
Yeah. I actually enjoy that.
8 years.
I want to have like real fun in DC.
I'll make that trip.
That's how long it's been. Bailey wasn't even on the main roster the last time we got a pay-per-view.
Damn, that sucks.
Wait a minute. Oh yeah, she had just joined.
Battleground was July, and then that next month she has the match with Asuka at Brooklyn too, and then she gets called up.
But she was a surprise that night.
She was a surprise, but she was still NXT.
That crowd for Bailey that night.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
I still had the video. Ape shit.
Yo, I love Bailey. Can I just say,
I want to join that campaign. I think they should bring DC.
Some jumpsuits that she been wearing, I will say.
We were some Bailey.
Love that.
What's your trivia, P? I'm ready.
Okay, so
our brains on.
Superstar made his very first SummerSlam entrance at SummerSlam 92.
The Ultimate Warrior.
Nope.
Damn.
Shawn Michaels.
Repeat the question.
No.
The Texas Tornado.
Which superstar made his first SummerSlam entrance at SummerSlam 1992?
Oh,
the Texas Tornado.
No.
Rick Martel?
No.
He is. Let me know if you want another clue.
Yeah, please.
I need another clue.
He's a Hall of Famer.
$1 Million Man?
Nope.
Ric Flair.
IRS?
Nope.
Wait, it's not Ric Flair or IRS?
Nope.
This can't be Mr. Perfect.
Somebody that made a debut.
He made his SummerSlam.
He's a Hall of Famer.
He had his first SummerSlam entrance at SummerSlam 1992.
Savage?
Nope.
Kamala? No.
We mentioned him on the show already.
Shawn Michaels?
No.
Oh, David Boy Smith?
No.
Damn
no,
it.
If we mentioned him already.
Yeah.
Not okay, I'll give you another clue. We mentioned him on the show already, but not in a wrestling capacity.
Yeah. Undertaker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, you
because the podcast. I should have thought about that.
Yes. So he made his first SummerSlam entrance in 1992 in front of this amazing Wembley Stadium crowd. So I think that's going to become my thing.
He had the vulture.
Yeah. Look at you.
I remember the visual.
Yeah.
It's one of the visuals they always show for whatever reason. Now it makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense because that makes sense because Taker comes out 90, and then 91 he doesn't wrestle at SummerSlam because I would have remembered that shit. So yeah.
Yep. And he comes in a hearse in the back of a hearse. Him and Paul Bearer, he's literally on the back of a hearse riding into SummerSlam. This is when he's like full on in the gimmick, like Hearst. He is an Undertaker. With Paul Bearer.
This is when he was doing the measurements, 24.
Yes, he has the
36.
tie still. Paul Bearer is holding the urn. I would love to know who's driving this hearse. I'm gonna throw it in the Google machine and see who's driving that hearse because it looked a little bit like
DDP.
Bruce Pritchard, or
is it DDP?
No.
I don't know, but I'm gonna have trivia ready for y'all because this is fun.
Yeah, just
That was a good one.
Just a home
a
run.
lot of fun. All right, so what are some other international PLEs? Should we get into Clash of the Castle recently? I know Seindole
Yes.
say about the year before.
Yeah, because I need Seindole to defend this take of this year's was better than last year's.
Because I proved to y'all that Drew is a lost motherfucking cause. Like I told you he was. Like I said what I said. Because he had his hometown purely cheering for him, and you couldn't even get over your ego. Once again, all you had to do was kick CM Punk in the back in the bad arm, kick him out of the ring, and beat up beat up Damian Priest some more. You would have been champ. But no, you messed it up on your own. Last year, same thing. You messed it up by knocking out the ref on your own. Drew was one thing, but you let the ultimate Poppy beat you. You let the Undertaker take you out. Come on now. You let Undertaker take you out. Horrible. Then and it was like, listen, I like when, and I hate to say this,
Undertaker is a world champion. Put some respect on that, please.
Yes, I respect that he told that whole press room to all rise him. I respect that. But let's get it to what it really was. It was what a PLE should, but you gave us a hometown story when it came to Isla Dawn and Abba Fire because they deserve to be tag team champions. Yes, I said it. I know I'm going against my good sis, but that just makes the rematch look even better if there is going to be one. Then you gave somebody like Piper Niven, who has years of experience, who fought from the gutter, because we hear about Charlotte and we hear about, even Lyra Valkyria's bottom story. But a lot of people don't know about Piper Niven's bottom story. Piper Niven's been in the game. She was actually at one point wrestled and retrained herself with Sierra Knight, like Paige's mother. That's how long her stature as far as wrestling goes. She's good too. So I like that they gave the people that should have been in the forefront the chance. I actually thought it was interesting that this champion in Cody Rhodes didn't main event the show. Because listen, if it was Roman Reigns' WWE, he would have main evented that show again. It would have been Drew versus freaking Roman Reigns Part 2. Let's call it what it is. Mm-hmm. But listen, Drew's a loser. I don't know what you guys want to.
Wow.
He's a loser. He quit like a loser on Monday. He's gonna come back like a loser again because it's gonna be him and Punk as survivors at SummerSlam. Yeah, he's a loser. Like, what do you want from me? I'm sorry.
No, well, you know what he is? He's not a loser. He's a glorified runner-up.
He's a glorified C+ player.
Hey, so mean.
Because he went in talking a lot of shit about how he's going to take this title off of Priest. And I had to sit there and defend on multiple platforms because a lot of fans wanted him to beat my guy who has not even been champ for 60. I think now he's hit the 60-day mark. And people were itching to get that shit off of him.
Saying, oh, he's transitional. Yeah.
He ain't doing it for me. He's like, he just got the shit.
He just got it, y'all. Come on. And I told you guys Drew was going to lose. Like, I don't know. Are you rooting for Drew? No. Why? Because he's in Scotland. He was 20 minutes away the year before. And this year, because he's 5 minutes around the corner and a soda pop away from his hometown that he should win. Give me a break. Like, I need like him taunting people on the internet is not enough. He has not punted Punk in the head. Everything that he has caused Punk on Agony is somebody else's pain. It wasn't even his fault that he really got injured. If you look at the tapes, it was really Gunther's fault that CM Punk's injured. Let's get into that. Secondly, if you really you giving me Roxanne Perez, like I said on Watch What Happens NXT, Roxanne Perez was in the same woo is me type shit with the whole I should be champion. I lost my title. Like, you the same boat. Like do something about it. I'm tired. Be about that action. I need you to do to Punk, if you have to, what Braun did to Ricochet. Like, that's the only way I'll buy your shit. Other than that, I'm not buying it. You're a loser.
Well, if anything, Punk is the one who didn't go at Gunther's neck. So is it Punk not about that smoke?
But Gunther didn't come out on the night that he said he wasn't going to be a part of WrestleMania and tell Punk, I prayed for this to happen.
That is true.
Yeah, true.
Mind your business. Wasn't minding his business at all, and then went and tried to make it worse for him. Like,
but CM Punk, you know, I understand, Drew. It is some it's a miscarriage of justice because first of all, why was he even able to get a referee shirt? He has just ref just. Can I have your shirt?
Shout out to her.
No, that was inappropriate.
And that shows that he's been losing weight.
So he had to get another shirt. And it's like, how could y'all let that happen? Just should have been the one to run out there and make the count.
You don't understand. CM Punk, we've been in this rodeo before. CM
Punk
they
let him get away with anything.
That's fine. You know why? Because CM Punk's karma is different karma. You're not just going to get 1-2 type karma, no. You're going to get it as long as he says he's done giving it to you. That is CM Punk. He's been a menace before. He was a menace when he was 465 days as a champion.
Brian he's referee one time, and now he know what it's like to be a referee.
Oh,
yes.
And
the match of the year. The match of 2022. I refereed it.
Is there a National Referee Day?
I don't know.
My boy Nixon.
And then later that year, I took a selfie with Mr. Black and celebrated 2 wholesome refs. Shout out to Mr. Black.
Wholesome?
Yeah.
So Brian, because you ref run match, does that make you union?
Union? What do you mean?
Are you part of the union now?
No, I'm retired.
Show us your card.
I'm retired. I don't have to do it no more. You know, sometimes you find good success and you leave it alone.
You found good success in one night.
Yeah, the match of the year. Shout out to the boys.
It was the bodega rice. That shit gave PTSD.
That was all Jay Bougie and
they throwing doors and flaming chancletas and bodega rice. I'm good.
It was refereeing and Crocs. It's okay, Brian. We get it.
Had to bring up the Crocs.
Okay.
But yeah, Patricia, I proceeded to call Drew McIntyre a loser, and I stand by what I said.
See, I didn't say loser. I said glorified runner up.
He is a Brie Bella, Nikki Bella framed loser.
Wow.
As they would say, they would bend over halfway and do this.
He is a man that is unable to finish.
Hey, I ain't commenting on another man.
All that pumping and no finish.
I was supposed to feel like, listen, your entrance was nice. The bagpipes was great, but like it's your fault you let your countryman down. Because like I said, all you had to do was give a high claymore to Punk one time, and you would have had that whole match won. But no, you ain't learned your lesson.
And that's the thing, Wade Barrett. You talking all this shit post match. Like Drew losing last Clash of the Castle was him getting aggrieved because he got jumped by someone that wasn't even in WWE. He's been asking for this smoke for months. You go all the way back to before Rumble when he's talking shit to Punk. And then after Punk gets injured, he's talking shit. He wins at Mania. What does he do? He straddles a fucking table and talks shit to Punk.
Didn't learn your lesson.
And then post WrestleMania, every other week, what's he doing? He's taking shots at Punk this entire time. Punk is gone and he's still taking shots to where like he was asking for this.
Like, look at this. Punk is there on Roman Reigns' schedule. You know what a Roman Reigns schedule is? You're still relevant. You're still one of the hottest things, but you get to like you're sitting there enjoying getting locked in the freaking WWE headquarters. On Monday, guess what we're watching after that? We're watching Drew McIntyre host a funeral for Punk's career. Like, get with the focus, bro. Like,
and you wonder why the man flew all the way to Scotland to give you that receipt.
Listen, I may have people that don't like me, but I don't know nobody who don't like me like that. I'm sorry.
What kind of policy can we get with our jobs? You know, we were talking about this on Tuesday. Me and Ben was like, you know, you just flying people over. What kind of budget you got just to make a run in? Like AJ Styles did the same thing.
Oh, I need to know.
Listen, Triple H said that TKO budget different, honey. If you want to fly to Alaska, if you want to fly to Antarctica and have a wrestling match with a polar bear, we can make it happen.
Fly me to Tokyo so I could punch whoever's running New Japan in the throat. I got word for
you. See what we did with the UFC Apex, and Dana White said, "Go ahead, use the facilities, turn it upside down, do some feng shui." And what did they do? Had a full blown PLE in there. The budget different. I'm trying to tell you. You heard nobody making less than $350,000. A plane ticket costs how much to Ireland? Maybe $1,000 on the advance.
And even that $350K seem a little low.
Exactly.
Like y'all are global ambassadors. I think there's like I think we need to times that by 2.
I mean, I'll take that, but it do seem a little low.
But remember, half of them aren't even really active, so
true.
But at the same time, you're representing WWE. You can't be lowballing them on like fucking accountant salary either.
I think the gist of that salary is even if you are not active, that's if your main roster, that's your median. I can't even imagine what your renegotiating contract money is, which is why I think all these negotiations are happening.
Shit, that's easy. Double.
Yeah, I think that's why these negotiations are happening. And then I also think that they're trying to get accustomed to this new format where it's not Vince McMahon saying, I like the way you do things, have some money. Like, it's a different structure, which is probably why they're like, listen, if I'm going to take money, let me think about it. If I'm not going to take the money, here's money. It's a different format going on.
Shit, am I still paying for my hotel? Am I still paying for my own rental car?
Am I still
driving myself out to the towns?
But
you're paying me double.
That's what I think it is.
Well, I will say this though, the show of that night, the crowd again, like I mean, is it safe to say almost like Cody music sometimes can be the measuring stick because you see how invested they are, they know the whole words.
That's fair,
and then like it's always like during his segments where you start to see
it's Cody or Randy.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, good point. Yep, very much so.
I think even now with Jey Uso sometimes too it is like, and that's why it was funny because everybody talks about like if SmackDown has removed Raw from its flagship show because of where it is, even when you look at the numbers. But even now, like every pre-show to PLE has been a SmackDown. Like they flew Carmelo Hayes out just to be Carmelo Hayes.
Like the weekend.
Right. Yeah. They flew Tiffany Stratton just to be like, for Tiffany Stratton to be on the roster and have a SmackDown and a PLE at her belt, for them to fly Carmelo Hayes out to do a segment in a match, like think about it. Like they've literally been like the flagship show, in my opinion. Like for them to even be international, I wouldn't put it behind them. It's going to be interesting to see when they go to USA if they keep that same type of energy.
Yeah.
Are there any other international shows that sort of come to mind immediately? Like I know as soon as they announced their partnership with the Middle East, that I think was probably their first sort of foray into having a regular annual show in a market that they never have come to, or it's been a while since they've come to, and they saw the financial benefit of that. I want to talk a little bit, not even about particular shows, but just about like what that brings. Because these places have never had live wrestling, but because WWE is so ingrained in pop culture, that's why Goldberg comes back with a fucking millions of dollar contract to have those one on your job. I Brock Justin when I brought up Goldberg, I looked at Justin. Those dream matches that you're like, wait, who asked for this? Like, who gives a fuck about a fucking Triple H and Shawn Michaels, Undertaker and Kane? That's because those.
Yeah, but Brock will actually work. Goldberg just collects fucking Social Security.
Yeah, but they get thrown those checks because those markets have never seen these legends wrestle. So they might feel old head to us and like, okay, why the fuck is Shawn Michaels come out of retirement? But it's like, think about all those people overseas that have never seen him live, and they don't give a fuck that he's past.
Are you talking about Super Sundown?
Yeah, like shows like that where you're just like, oh my god, this match sucked. Why did we have this? But like, you have to think about the value it takes for someone that never gets that. It's like, of course I want to see Undertaker wrestle. Us, we're like, oh god, like why is he here? But like, if you've never seen him live, you're not gonna care. So can we touch on that, like the quality of matches and just like what that has sort of brought to things, having this whole global undertaking?
If you look at like the beginning of when they started, since I was talking about Super Sundown, when you look at the beginning of like the Crown Jewel and Super Sundown and the Greatest Royal Rumble and the Greatest Rumble, think of what they were doing. They were giving The Undertaker, Goldberg, DX reuniting for one more time, having big people like Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns in their main card. Look at what they were doing. They were giving the people in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh that experience of what we felt here in the States. Meaning that the agreement was, you're going to give us the WrestleMania we've never gotten. Like the WrestleMania that people had to watch over here, you're going to give it to us, but we don't want to call it WrestleMania. We want our own thing. We want you to change it for us. We want you to revolve it around us. And so when I think about, like, for example, with the Crown Jewel, where I think they had like who was it? Tyson Fury. Who did he wrestle? I can't remember. Like when you think about that, like at that time, Tyson Fury was, if not one of the most recognizable people in Saudi Arabia. Like he had boxing match after boxing match and was there. He was their Andre the Giant at one point. So when you look at those shows and you look at the beginning of that, a lot of people were like, "Oh, they don't have women on the cards." Well, they're looking at old school wrestling. There weren't a lot of women on the cards of old school wrestling. They weren't a lot. There was only like who? There was like Wendy Rector and all those people. They're not looking for that. They're looking at the big men, the strong men, the main event people that we've gotten at WrestleMania, and like John Cena headlining and Roman, and we're looking for them. And you're gonna give it to us in our own special format now because all those they've gotten it already. They're like, okay, now you can give us whatever you want because we know you're gonna make it a huge deal. That's why you're getting the Crown Jewel and the Greatest Rumble that you're getting now, because they're finally letting WWE have their format. You get to see women wrestle. We had 2 women's matches on the cards, whereas we only had like one generic match just so they can have women. Now you have full-blown titles being defended. So that's my whole take on. That's why I enjoyed that, because I was like, this is the evolution, but also they didn't try and keep it what they kept in the beginning. Now they're adapting to what we're used to, and now all markets are adapted to. Like for them to have a WWE experience in Riyadh, like they are really getting what we get, because we get access every single city. We get a superstore every single city. Now they have something to where it's like, it's not just something that comes when WWE comes. They get it every day. You can just walk in there and have your own access. So that's why I think it's great to have shows like that, because that's also a country. After they stopped doing tribute to the troops in different countries, we thought they would never go back to the overseas in the Arabias. Now they're in Riyadh at least twice a year, full season, in Jeddah, in Riyadh also. So
the thing is too, like we talk about just seeing those legends. It's cool for nostalgia purposes sometimes.
Right.
Like what the match that we wanted to get. Well, no, I should say he wanted to get would have been cool to watch. Big E versus Goldberg. That would have been perfect for over there. Especially considering like Big E has been vocal about wanting that match. But overall, man, it's like, okay, we don't have to see it per se ourselves, so it's not like we're wasting the ticket. But I do think the cool thing I do like about, say, the Saudi shows is being able to like watch it during the middle of the day, especially when it was on like a Friday.
That's fun.
Yeah. But I will say one thing about other international shows. I'll go back to like the late 90s, early 2000s, when you had the England shows that was straight to DVD or straight to VHS, the Capital Carnages, the Rebellions. And you would get like some of those matches, and it would all stay kind of within the storyline. Belts wasn't going to change hand, maybe the European title. But
I had that actually, that DVD.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Like I remember going into like Suncoast Video or Sam Goody or FYE and seeing it on the shelf, and
Sam Goody so much.
Yeah, so like I didn't buy none of them. I think I might have rented one of them, but then like when the network came out, immediately watching some of them old shows.
So I do too. Where do you guys want to see? So I love to bring up the fact that I was in the press conference when Issa asked about the shows in Puerto Rico, and how Triple H basically said like, it's gonna happen and it's gonna be huge, and that's not the only place that we want to go to. And now we have a whole fan club where we're talking about all these international shows. We talked about Africa. Where are some other places that really need to get a PLE or two, or internationally, that you think will just kind of bring it? Because we were in France. We were in I want to say Lyon,
France was
and that
excellent
crowd. literally you can hear it
It put
come
us
out
to
of
shame.
I
the
had to
television.
Google the fucking phenomenal song they were singing for like AJ Styles, and I didn't know that was an actual fucking song.
Yeah, it's a
called
song.
Phenomenal. To where I think that's the low key the best thing about international PLEs, where you're, like in the States we always cheer for like the favorites, you know what I mean? But for the international shows, you see someone else become like the de facto the favorite of that show, where like the crowd's like, nah, we're giving them all the energy. You know, Puerto Rico, it was actually Io Sky. France, it was AJ Styles. So it's cool to see like these like Clash of the Castle 1, it was Sheamus. So it's cool to see like people that we don't always give the flowers, get those flowers sometimes in these international shows where it's like, oh, this crowd really fucks with this person. Where it's kind of
I
like
think-
surprising.
I love that Bailey is getting to hear what she heard at NXT now on the main roster in other countries. Because when I was watching Clash of the Castle, I'm like, yo, even they, like, you can hear it clearly when she was in France, but to hear it clearly when she's in like Glasgow, I was like, oh my God. Like, they make that, like, you have to realize when people sing that at WrestleMania, it's not only the Americans, it's them. It's the people that come from overseas and like Bailey that are singing those songs. So to hear it overseas, you finally get like, oh, now we get where those chants come from. Like the whole about the belly, would you be my girl? I was like, yo, they're singing it clear as hell.
I think that's the difference. We're like here in the States, we're kind of, you know, we love, but we don't always show the appreciation. Whereas international shows, they're very vocal of we're gonna give you your fucking flowers whether you like it or not.
Because how many times they're gonna be back there?
True.
That's true.
And you'll see it with Money in the Bank in Canada, because Canada is another market they're used to going into. They go into that market like once a year. And I feel like that's what the big difference is. Like, we're so used to, imagine if they take like, and I put this scenario in my head because I know it could possibly happen. Imagine if they said, okay, screw the US. We're not going to have all the big 4 PLEs going straight overseas. Yep. Hell, we even going to put the Royal Rumble in Cape Town, South Africa. Imagine if they did that to us for the last 8 years. Imagine it, and then 5 years later, they go, oh, guess what? We're gonna bring Survivor Series back to Washington D.C. Yo, everybody in their mama in the East Coast gonna come down to D.C. and flood that stadium. That's the level of gratitude they have, because it's a different country. They just put the world back in WWE, so let them have it. Like, I'm just like, they're like, oh, the U.S. crowds are dead. It's like, yeah, but we get a Raw. We having a SmackDown. What SmackDown is this?
We're fortunate that like
Friday.
We're fortunate that outside of the PLEs, every 4 months you're getting WWE coming back to your city for a loop, whether it's Raw, SmackDown, or a live show. Whereas the overseas is kind of, you're getting it once a year.
Right. Like, people don't realize house shows. We had to slowly get them back after the pandemic. International house shows started a year and a half after the pandemic ended. So how do you think they're going to react? They're used to the whole world shut down, and they couldn't even give wrestling in their face for an additional 8 to 10 months after the pandemic happened. How do you think they're going to act?
Right.
I like it in theory what you're saying of like maybe take away the PLEs out of the States for a couple of years. The only problem with that is I look at, like, for example, Canada. Canada's very hard to travel in for certain people. So you also gonna have other countries where it's like
Brett told me.
That's
the thing. Like, and Canada's not the only one. There's probably other countries where it's like, let's stick WrestleMania here, but not everyone can go here, because if there's gonna be travel restrictions and stuff like that, you're now kind of fucking up your own money.
Right.
That'll be the only thing. So I kind of see why they're like, all right, we're keeping the big 4 in the States because we want y'all to come the fuck here. But I also put this on Twitter too, where I was like, I'm perfectly fine with non-big 4 PLEs not being in the States no more, and make that official. Like, all right, international, this is how we split the baby. You're coming here for Mania, you're coming here for SummerSlam, you're coming here for Rumble and Survivor Series.
Big 5.
But no, not even the big 5, because this is now the second straight year Money in the Bank's not in the States. They were in London last year. It's in Toronto this year.
Yeah.
So now from non-big 4, we'll put that outside the States.
Yeah.
And Money in the Bank be like the coup de grace of that crop.
Get that crowd reaction. You guarantee that good crowd reaction the whole year.
Oh yeah. Because and you know what's crazy, because they're trying, like I said, put the world back in WWE. They'll get that shit done. 1000% get it done. Like, and you know what it is too? It's funny because I'm looking at the demo now, and it's like, you know what else they're trying to make a worldwide sport? They're trying to make UFC worldwide, and WWE is its access point. So imagine they start having UFC in Saudi Arabia, in Canada. They stop going to Vegas. Think of how that Vegas crowd that's used to like, oh, it's just a UFC match. We're gonna take our, and mind you, UFC is expensive as fuck. It's $1,500 for a nosebleed. So imagine if they go to a Riyadh and they're like, oh, 15, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You go to Canada. Oh, wow, Canada, like.
Yep. They're gonna do more weekends like that. I don't know if you guys saw the TKO takeover for I forgot what city that was, but I'm sure they're gonna do more of that because UFC big checks, like you mentioned, Seindole, like they make big money. They make money, tens of millions of dollars, easy,
and they give it right back to the city. Because I'm waiting
for Dana pay your fighters. That's the trade-off. Is they make money hand over fist, but the fighters don't make money.
Make money. Yep, the fighters all rely on sponsorship. Mm-hmm. But I'm excited to see what they do in Japan, and I hope they go back to China. Let's cross our. It might happen. I don't know, but I'm excited to see what they do in Japan.
If we're talking future locations, Mexico City is sitting right there for you. Especially how long do you have with Rey Mysterio as an active wrestler, and you have Dom right there.
Our relationship with Mexico it might get better. I think that might happen too. I think because didn't they just announce like a Bad Blood pay-per-view?
Yeah, I don't know where it's at though.
I'm not sure.
They didn't say. They just said it would be around October 5th.
I know Mexico's a layup. Personally, I would love Rio too. Because Brazil is just vibes.
They love wrestling.
The crime.
And they would.
Where Pat Patterson won the Intercontinental, the very first Intercontinental title.
The crime.
That's the only. Well, it doesn't have to be specifically Rio, but somewhere in Brazil. That would be a good one. I mean, Africa is another fucking layup. It's just a matter of where you put that in Africa. I would personally love Spain.
Spain would be dope. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next.
No, I think they're probably going to do Spain next.
Spain would be really. Spain will be really good, especially that Real Madrid spent like fucking $2 billion to put a retractable roof on their football field. So now that can always be like a SummerSlam destination if you wanted to.
That if they bring WrestleMania to Canada, they're gonna do it in Montreal, and they're gonna take advantage of using that old Olympic Stadium because and I've stayed in that area. I know it's a little loop, but it's the easiest place to get to in Montreal, and that says a lot because it's Montreal. It is the easiest place to get to. Listen, I've been there. It's easy to get to.
I hear you,
weird.
But I think after what happened this year with Philly, I don't think they're going anywhere north for Mania that does not have a dome.
You're right. No, but it's close.
They're like even then, there's possible it's still like March, April, so there could be like, what if it snows? Then that kind of fucks over traveling for a lot of your talent who have to be all over the place.
Yeah.
There's so many things that you gotta like keep in mind with these sorts of things. Like you could dream these things up. Like have WrestleMania here, have WrestleMania there.
Yeah, we gotta remember Rumble is January, and so that's gonna have to be indoors, or unless it's a warm weather city. Mania is beginning of April, same thing. So you gotta keep that in mind, especially if you live north. Of like, it's not just the venue; it's also the fact of those weekends. The talent is traveling. They're doing interviews. They're doing media. They're doing obligations. They got to be able to get in and out. And if they can't travel because it might snow in April or it might have some sort of like storming. Same thing with like, why don't we do like a PLE in like Miami in October? Well, hurricane season. Last thing you need is like a hurricane coming in and fucking your shit up.
That's true.
So much. Like
those are things that you got to factor in on top of, perfect example, SummerSlam. SummerSlam's in August, right? But August, what do we have? The NFL's coming back in full force. So that means they're taking back their football fields and their football stadiums. So you got to look at the schedules because they put the schedule out in advance. All right, who has preseason here, who doesn't? And this is where you end up with a Cleveland or a Detroit because, New York has a lot going on this summer. You got Copa America going on right now. You got concerts going on right now. The Giants and Jets occupy MetLife to where when one's not there, the other is. So MetLife becomes impossible.
People are still on tour around that time, and then as soon as like the last concert tour ends, that's when preseason starts for the Giants. So I get what you're saying.
Exactly. So that will take away like in New York, and the same thing goes for like Atlanta, because Atlanta, the MLS team uses that stadium as the Falcons. On top of, college football uses that as well for like championship games or start of the season games or SEC type games. So those also get factored into the venues. And I think that probably makes a more of an argument of overseas. And then I think that's why I was always saying for Wembley it will be SummerSlam, because that's right before Premier League starts, and no one uses Wembley for the Premier League teams.
Right.
Yeah, I think overall they've been a win.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've seen the announcement from AEW too. Now they're about to go to Wales, Cardiff and Wales.
They're gonna
have Dynamite. They're gonna have Dynamite and Rampage.
That's dope. You touched on something earlier. I don't know if it was you, Brian H. Waters, or someone else, about how the talent. So I look at it from a marketing standpoint where WWE always wanted to position themselves as a global wrestling company. Like it wasn't, we're not just, I think also just from watching like What Killed WCW, like we ain't no small town wrestling program on TBS. Like, we're like high class premium quality that we're going to take fucking global, which they successfully did. Right. But so what comes with that is now you have to serve those markets. So now if you're going to be in India, you need some you need some talent that they can fucking relate to. Same with all these other countries. And, with the advent of the network and just how the world is connected more, now you have superstars from all these countries. Like, it's not just like the one. Like, now it's like, okay, you have a lot. I think about that show in Australia when the Iconics got their first win ever in the company in front of their hometown. Alba Fire and help me with the other girls.
Isla Dawn.
Now they were really big in NXT UK. They were making them names for themselves in NXT. They went to the main roster, but they really weren't really
cooked in NXT UK.
They really, NXT UK.
Run it back. I don't care. The budget's there. Do it again.
Is coming as well, because that was such, I took that show for granted. I will say
a lot of people did.
It was gone. I was like, oh shit, like I missed that era of Pete Dunne. But like, long story short, you give these international wrestlers a moment. Like, I would have never expected Isla Dawn and Alba Fire to be the next champions in WWE, but we go to their hometown, they have that moment. Like, can we talk a little bit about that? Like the Zelina Vega effect, like having that emotion. Damian Priest, how does it feel watching these wrestlers be able to perform in front of their families that they've probably never seen live because of just how you have to come to America to make your wrestling dreams come true? How does it feel to watch some of these wrestlers be able to perform in front of their hometown crowd and then also have these huge moments?
Saraya too. It's beautiful. It may be something, again, we take for granted because, like, growing up being US based, right, we would see the wrestlers get their moments in front of their families, right? We would see Bret Hart win the championship in Saskatoon, Canada, and having his moment. But it's a difference now. We're seeing it with a wider lens with a country, and it's a difference. One thing to have your city behind you, but it's another thing to have your whole country, because it's like people come from all different regions to see that, and it's just they just tend to scream louder and cheer even harder. So I personally love it. I love watching it.
Yeah.
Ditto what you guys have been saying, and I'm just replaying my head for just Alba Fire, just everything that girl went through this week going into that PLE is just I'm glad she got that moment, man. And that's the thing we take for granted as fans, because sometimes like, why is this person getting a title match? Why would for them? It was like, take yourself out of your fan shoes and put yourself in the talent shoes, where it's like, bro, I get to have a title match. For some of them, this might be the first time they're getting this on a premium live event. So that means you're getting primetime billing in front of your fucking home, your family, and for a lot of them, like P said, like some of them they come from overseas to chase their dreams here in the States. So it's like I haven't seen mom and dad in years. I haven't seen my family in years. So I get to wrestle in front of them on top of my country people for this humongous opportunity. It's like win or lose is a fucking like I can't imagine the emotions they go through. Like even like a Piper Niven where it's like no one expected Piper to beat Bailey. But just to like you're getting a title match with arguably the biggest baby face on the women's roster right now. Love Bianca, but you can make a case Bailey's the biggest one at the moment in front of your peoples. Like for Piper, that's like, bro. That's like if anything, that's such a humongous win for her, and also a cosign because it's like, bro, Bailey could be facing anyone else. She's facing you.
Yep. And not to mention, just Bailey really advocates for other wrestlers so much. Like she would see the value in a Piper winning in Scotland just as much as Piper would, and I think that is so important and something that I will always acknowledge. And I think it's because that, like, you know, we're fans, so like talking about these moments are cool as a fan. I just also think it's cool for the actual like workers that because wrestling has always been international. Like Japan has always been a hotbed for shows and stuff like that. But the fact that now people get to sort of like really have these big show moments for the first time in front of their hometown crowd is so special. Like I love watching that so much. It is amazing. Like even Drew, like even though he lost, like we're gonna be talking about that for years. Like we're gonna talk even him losing it at WrestleMania. Like we're gonna be talking about that cash in for years. We are never gonna forget that moment. We're never gonna forget Drew not going his ass to the back. After when, like, we'll never fucking
he did that for me.
Shit.
He gave me my WrestleMania moment, and I'm always gonna thank him for that.
Oh, I love that, Justin. I really do. I really do.
But yeah, I think of Drew. But then I also think of someone like Sheamus, and like last year's Clash of the Castle, where like him, like Sheamus and Gunther just put on a fucking 5-star banger, like a legitimate 5-star banger, and then that crowd just like, we don't give a fuck if you lost, just sitting there and serenading Sheamus in the ring. And I think that's something that Sheamus hasn't gotten in a while because again, sometimes as Americans, we can be spoiled with our shit and really take this for granted. Whereas like you see that crowd just like, you took an L, but we watched you work your ass off. We giving you your flowers. We singing songs for you. We're standing ovation. And you can see like Sheamus get emotional for that because like, oh shit.
Yeah, I love that. And also, I do want to note and mention that there are a lot of international house shows prior to this. I don't want to say like there are some towns internationally that do get wrestling shows, but putting on a PLE, having a live SmackDown, a live Raw, that is something completely different. And ever since the merger, the way that they've been able to take over towns, it's very different. But I do want to acknowledge that they do international tours fairly regularly, which also gives the wrestlers a chance to travel the world.
Oh yeah, that European loop is like what, 2 weeks straight?
Yep. Plane ride from hell would have never happened. Wrestling history is so interesting.
Thank you for that, Pete. Thank you.
I am appreciating all things international.
Never happens.
What happens on the plane stays on the plane unless you have a TV show on Vice where we're gonna air that shit out.
Oh my god, shit! Fucking Ric Flair got kissed for a little hot second.
Bret Hart. Listen, y'all. We still talking about Punk flying across the sea, said Dutch's Biz Hater. You got Bret Hart talking about some. Oh yeah, I hate Goldberg, but I'm gonna remind you guys in the middle of the bar that I own why I fucking hate this motherfucker. Ooh, nice. Besides the way that I hate the way that you talk, you almost killed me in the ring, and Goldberg's just sitting there like, I said I was sorry.
You almost killed me in the ring, and I gotta watch you wrestle in fucking Saudi, taking the time out the Fiend.
For millions, I hate you. Millions of dollars. I will forever hate you. Like the venom will spit from my throat as I talk about you. And then they're like, "Do you want to talk about it?" He's like, "I don't mind." He just
I will never not be here for any Bret Hart slandering Goldberg because that man went through a lot.
Period.
I will never tell Bret Hart to get over it.
Period.
99 was a rough year for him.
Period. Talk about it, brother.
Very.
Goldberg, you know, he
considered
we get in this Goldberg. He seems like a nice guy. I'm not so sure of 98, 99. At times, no, not all the time, but at times he seems like somebody who's like, you know what, I was cocky, you know, and I wanted to come back and show my kids. I wanted to be a good dad and show my kids and be a hero to younger kids. Where before he was just like, I'm the shit. Y'all gonna follow me. All right, they want me to win. I should never lose, you know. So I do feel like
he's his own hype.
Yes, thank you. That's the words. And I feel like he is better. But I mean, he still got some parts where he don't get it. But either way, at that time, and I think that's what makes Bret Hart mad. Like, I mean, like I said, if you get hurt and you missing out on millions of dollars, now you see this guy making millions of dollars, it's gonna continue to piss you off. He went over there and got that big check and almost killed the Undertaker. Like, come on now.
Yeah, it's like you got to watch Shawn Michaels have a second act. You got to watch Goldberg have a second and third act. You get to watch Brock Lesnar and Undertaker and a lot of these. You get to watch Rey Mysterio continue to wrestle. And you know, CM Punk be gone for like a decade and come back. Like, and for Bret, who loves wrestling, who loves the in-ring shit, you know, Daniel Bryan had to retire and then come back. And for Bret, it's like, that's never going to happen for you.
Yeah.
You get Edge, but that's never going to happen for you. And that got taken from you by one person.
Yeah. And like Brian said, like the 90s is something that's gonna be resonated with Bret for a while. And then you got somebody who thinks like, oh, I gotta be young, I gotta be the next one, I gotta come up. I'ma just do it just to do it. And you not taking into consideration, like, and then the fact that like it's a respect thing at the end of the day. Like you got the chance to work with Bret motherfucking Hart.
Yes.
That's how you took the shit. Like I'm gonna all day when I see you, cause bro, like it's just the fact that you disrespected me and you try to end my career.
They don't care and act nonchalant about it.
Yeah, and then you like you get on like you just like you like that's how Bret looks at it. He's like you get on my like ill. Like I don't want it. I don't want sorry from you. Sorry is not gonna cut it. You can say sorry on your deathbed. I'm like, oh, flatline, bye. Like,
you can be on your deathbed. Bret gonna be the one to pull the plug. Click. You don't need to be here no more.
Like, no fucking hesitation.
He gonna be like, whoop! I tripped my foot.
And now his watch has ended.
Wait, Bret. When he said with Vince, he was like, Vince ran into my hand. He gonna be like, the cord ran into my foot when it came to Goldberg. My bad. Because literally, like,
it's like, I'm sorry, I sneezed and I happened to grab all the cords and just pull them down. You know, manifest destiny.
In that documentary, when the way he explained it and the way Goldberg was just like, there was an accident. I've been apologizing for years. Like, my nigga, you missing the point. Like, you missing the point. Like, you not nowhere near the target on why this man don't like you. But listen, like, I agree with Brian. Bret can hate the sky if it reminds him of Goldberg all he wants to, because everything he went through. Let's be real.
And we love it because now that Iron Sheik is now in the heavens above, we need someone to have that I will carry this for generations of like, until you pass, and even then it's fuck the Goldberg.
Always.
Yo, Iron Sheik, listen, Iron Sheik, he just learned Twitter. What was his first tweet? Fuck Hulk Hogan.
Fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Yo, that got so popular. Yo,
that was his first and his last.
You had celebrities that don't even watch wrestling that knew, oh, Iron Sheik, yeah, fuck the Hulk Hogan.
Yo, mind you, he had a whole one point, and this is when I followed him. He had a whole stream of, I love the CM Punk. I love the Randy Orton. That John Cena, I love that motherfucker. And then randomly down the line, fuck you, Hulk Hogan. That's the energy you need, baby. That's it. That's all you need.
What did Cardi say?
He was offered thousands of dollars, but because he loved the business, he didn't break Hulk Hogan's leg.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
He was supposed to break his leg in that match, but he knew he loved the business. He respected, the owners, and therefore he wouldn't break his leg, and he knew the business had to move forward.
Hey, but at the same time,
you
got beef with me, I got beef forever.
He was original Cardi B. She gonna have beef with me. She gonna have beef with me forever.
That's where Cardi got it from her ancestor. That was the Iron Sheik.
Cardi got it from Bret because we know Cardi B was a wrestling fan. She said, "Listen, if Bert gonna hate Goldberg, that's my energy." You know what I mean? Like
on that note.
So I want to this. I don't know who decided that we were going to do this episode, but I want to thank whoever did because I like being able to kind of look at wrestling as a global business and more out of the, you know, tunnel vision I have as a New Yorker that is about to go to MSG next Friday, and I have Barclay, and I got Long Island, and I got New Jersey, and I got all that. Brian, don't hate. But I love feeling that crowd through the screen when they go overseas. Like I can feel it. Like it reinvigorates everything in me as a wrestling fan because it's just you got the signs. Like it's almost like watching a show from like the Attitude Era where they pan the crowd and everybody's just like, "Wow, so happy to be here!" Like that's how it feels. Like I love that. I don't know about y'all, but I fucking love that shit.
I love it. More decibel meter, please. Because we know cool. If you're breaking out the decibel meter, it is loud.
Yeah. And that means like us American crowds, we gotta get together. Like, what's up?
That's the indirect thing where it's like it's low key shade at us. Where it's like, yo, y'all be spoiled, y'all selective who you want to cheer, and you see the PLEs where they just bring the energy from start to end. Doesn't matter what match is on, they fucking bring it consistently, and it's just like, yeah, we kind of gotta get our shit in order. Yeah, like you saw like. After you started getting the international PLEs, you saw like more people like, okay, we actually gotta learn the words to Cody Rhodes' fucking theme song instead of the well. We gotta learn verse 1 and verse 2. We gotta coordinate.
Yeah.
And that salutes to the international PLEs, man, because y'all bring hella energy. Love and it. us in the States watching you guys from home, we are fucking proud of you and keep bringing it, man.
We really are. And all of like what I mentioned before, all of the superstars that are able to go home and perform in front of their hometowns for the first time. Like, I love that. Shout out to y'all for that, for sure.
Indeed.
I also just want to, again, just wish everyone a happy Juneteenth. This is a huge day. It's a very important day. I am so glad it is now recognized as a federal holiday. I can't believe it took that long. But it is a federal holiday, and I appreciate that. I want to also shout out Jay Bougie. Happy birthday. Congratulations on ranking 44 in this year's BRP 50, which leads me to also thanking Black Wrestling for all the work they put in for that list. Yep. Stay tuned for the top 10. Stay tuned for TWG's recap of that list. All in all, I think it's been a really good day. I think we're in a really good time for Black wrestling. I think we're in a really good time in general to be a wrestling fan. So I'm so glad that we have this platform every week, this wrestling fan club, to talk about a lot of these different things. I'm pushing towards having an R-Truth appreciation night next week in the fan club. Up? Let me know how y'all feel about that. All of our VIPs. Those of y'all that are still in the building, let me know. Y'all feeling it? Y'all not feeling it? Let me know. But I'm thinking that might be the move. I want to laugh. I want to bring up some clips. I want to risk copyright. I want to laugh at R-Truth next week. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, how y'all feel about that? Yeah.
What's up?
I'm down.
What's up? What's up? So, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Listen, you can get with this or you can get with that.
But I know you will go over that top rope, Paul Heyman.
No.
That man did the impossible. He made Brock Lesnar fucking laugh his ass off on camera.
To the point where remember when he had the Roman?
Save it for next week.
Unpopular opinion. R-Truth low-key unlocked Blizzy Brock, because we weren't getting this. Okay, I feel confident on the mic, and let me go have fun and laugh and shit like that until R-Truth.
Yep, good point.
Where can everyone find my crew?
Well, you can find me when I'm not acting an ass here on the Fan Club Live Wednesday nights on TWG's account with myself and these three beautiful, amazing co-hosts of mine who are intelligent and funny and just amazing. You can find me on all social media platforms at It's Justin Rich. One of those platforms, you can find me Tuesday nights live on Twitter Spaces on Black Wrestling's handle. For The Buckle, myself, Mimi, and Corey, we talk all things wrestling. You can catch me from time to time on True Heel Heat Sports and True Heel Heat Wrestling. Both those channels are located on YouTube where we talk sports, wrestling, and all that fun stuff. We here, we outside, we active. Salute to Juneteenth, man. Black excellence.
All right. You can find me, Brian H. Wars, on all social media platforms. Make sure you check out this week's episode of Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. I talked about what did I talk about? All right, I just drew a blank. I talked about how Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark is the next Magic versus Larry, as well as giving Kyrie Irving his props, who stood tall in spite of losing to the Boston Celtics. But also check out the Wrestling Realm Now podcast tonight. We're going to talk about the Wyatt Six. And then also make sure you check out this week's episode of Ring of Wrestling Worldwide, because we came to you right after Raw. All three of us may have been a little bit under the influence as we were super hyped. So check that episode out, as my batter just got hit, and I'm not happy about that because the Yankees just hit Gunnar Henderson. But also big news. I'm dropping it here first time I talk about it. Be a Fanatics Fest in New York City, August 16th to 8th through the 18th. The Masked Man show will be there. So
yay! I was gonna ask. So I was gonna send a screenshot, but I was waiting for you to say something.
So yeah, make sure y'all check that out. As always, I get to go to the second greatest city in the world.
You get to come back to New York. Round 2. No dos. Okay. And as per usual, be excited about everything. Is your honorary wrestling girl, Seindole B. Sorry I could not do your favorite weekly Tuesday pre-show, which is Watch Happens NXT yesterday, but I was being a corporate baddie. And I hate New Jersey Transit, so I couldn't do it with y'all. But on a lighter note, I will be back this Tuesday because we will be talking about why everybody was giving Kalani Jordan the stank face as she walked through her first title defense with Miss Mia Yim, the head baddie in charge. And also, room full of haters, honey. And why do I think that Javon Evans winning his match at Heatwave is not the end of Carmelo? Is not the end, of Trick Williams' title defense coming into Heatwave. I think they're going to add something with a little bit of spice, probably a fatal 4-way or 3-way. We'll talk about that in the chat. Also, we're going to talk about why you shouldn't be mad that we said his name and he appeared, and why I don't think this is the end of the WWE universe believing in Joe Henry. That is all coming on this Tuesday. And when I'm not talking about the fact that I now also believe in Joe Henry,
I believe in Joe Hendry.
Yes, I love it.
No, how does he do it like this?
Yeah.
Thank you, AJ Francis.
Thank you, AJ Francis, on this Juneteenth day. We appreciate you, brother. Even though he's your worst nightmare right now, we get it. But when I'm not believing in Joe Henry and thanking AJ Francis for that, or anything else related to NXT, you can watch me live here with the 3 best friends that anybody can have every Wednesday at 7 o'clock to talk about more Fanatic stuff. Probably going to be excited about this, our Truth Appreciation Night as well, because it's better than the Drew McIntyre Appreciation Night. And also, happy Juneteenth, everybody. Shout out to Black Wrestling Podcast. As you can see, the merch is in the back. Learn to buy it. Support the brand, join the Patreon like you should with those wrestling girls. Support, and also support everybody on the BRP on the list. Shout out to everybody, congratulations to everybody. And I can't wait for the top 10. Yes, I can't wait to drop the top 10 because I need more merch. I need more indie wrestling merch. So I all think you should do the same. And and watch, and right now Kendrick and Friends is on, so watch that too if you have Prime.
Kendrick and Friends.
That's what I've been.
Yeah, Kendrick Lamar is on for the Kia Forum.
Kendrick been pulling. Kendrick ain't even hit the stage yet, but he bringing out everyone in LA.
When I turned it on, Tyler the Creator and Steve Lacy had just gotten on. And I know how you love them.
YG Mustard did his whole set, and then YG came out.
Yeah. So it's gonna be good. Kendrick's not even on yet. I'm waiting for Kenny.
Bro, from the timeline, this is lit.
Yeah, shout out to Kendrick. Shout out to my crew. Thank you once again for joining me on TWG Fan Club. I love it. Shout out to my sis, Krista B, and the rest of the TWG network, and my twin sister Letty for tuning in. Our VIP, thank you so much. We cannot do Fan Club without our VIP.
like point blank period. So we really appreciate you coming in every week. Everyone that is new to TWG Fan Club, welcome. We are here every Wednesday around 7 on Twitch and Twitter Spaces, so you can join us every week. We talk about a variety of wrestling topics. If there is ever something in particular that any of our VIP want to talk about, just let us know in the comments. Tweet us at hashtag TWG Fan Club at Those Wrestling Girls. We will talk about it because we all love wrestling. If I love wrestling and you love wrestling, we love wrestling. So I just want to put that out there and congratulate everyone that made the BRP 50. Happy Juneteenth. Let's put more hearts up. Just spread some love.
Mm-hmm.
Wrestling is fun again in all aspects. I love everything about everything that's happening right now. And on that note, we will see you all next week.
Love y'all. Bye. Believe in Joe Hendry.